That we are fighting the fake news. It's fake, phony.
AM 560, The Answer.
If you have pain, listen up. Dennis Prager here. You don't need to live in pain. Let me repeat that. You don't have to live in pain. Chronic pain is the worst, whether it's from an accident or pain that just develops. So, Chicagoland, you're in luck. Dr. Ken Candido is one of the nation's most respected and successful pain doctors. He's been voted one of Chicago's best pain doctors several times. Bottom line, he's the pain doctor you need. Dr. Candido of Chicago Anesthesia and Pain Specialists will help you get off pain medication and all of its side effects. How? By finding the source of your chronic pain and fixing it.
This is Ken Candido of Chicago Anesthesia Pain Specialists. Let's make you pain-free.
Call Dr. Ken Candido and make an appointment with a cutting-edge, respected, and successful pain physician. Go to mypainchicago.com. That's mypainchicago.com. Thousands have been helped with their chronic pain, and you can be the next one. Get the phone number and all the info you need at mypainchicago.com.
What's the scariest thing about going to the dentist? Opening your mouth or opening your wallet? Because just a simple cleaning can cost $100, and things like root canals can cost you hundreds more. If you don't have dental insurance to help, you should give Physicians Mutual Insurance Company a call. 1-800-300-8038. This isn't a discount plan or preventive-only coverage. This is real dental insurance that helps pay for checkups right away, so you can call today and get your teeth cleaned tomorrow. Plus, it helps cover the more expensive procedures you might need down the road. Fillings, crowns, bridges, even costly dentures. There's no deductible and no annual maximum. Your acceptance is guaranteed for one of these insurance policies, even if you're retired or on Medicare. There are no networks, so you can choose any dentist you'd like. That's right, any dentist you want. Call and we'll rush you a free information kit with all the details. 1-800-300-8038. That's 1-800-300-8038. 1-800-300-8038.
5:09. And a check of the roads this morning in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center. Here's Jim Talamonte. Good morning, Jim.
Good morning, Mike. I'm happy to report that this morning we don't have any double fatal collisions to report or hit-and-run crashes closing things. Right now it's fairly quiet. The only issue is road construction on the outbound Rhine. Stop and go from 79th to 95th. Only the far right lane is open. This is actually not road work, it's platform work at the 95th Street station on the CTA Red Line. It's just a 5-minute delay. The inbound Rhine is clear. The other expressways and tollways are looking good. Most of the road work has wrapped up. There is going to be work on the northwest side this morning. Milwaukee Avenue is going to be down to one lane in both directions near Harlem for sewer work. In Naperville, Martin Avenue is closed between West and Brom for Rib Fest, which starts on Friday. Traffic is a service as well as of NTB. Get your 5-quart conventional oil change today, just $19.99 plus $3 disposal fee for tires, oil, service, and repairs. National Tire and Battery, that's all you need. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte, AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer starts next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the aircomfort.com Weather Center, providing the right climate for business since 1935. Here's our meteorologist, Kevin Snyder.
Today, wind gusts up to 30 miles per hour with occasional rain and a thunderstorm. During the midday, high 83. Severe evening thunderstorm watch for flash flooding and damaging winds will have a low tonight of 69. I'm Kevin Snyder on AM 560. The Answer.
Currently 60 at O'Hare, 58 along Chicago's lakefront. Your next news update is at 5:30, and Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy starts now on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by the Lou Bridges Show. Get foreclosure defense solutions that may save your home. Saturday mornings at 8 on AM 560, The Answer.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. Well, imagine the irony. CNN has been exposed by journalism. I'm sure it's lost on Mr. Zucker and the team. Project Veritas, little undercover video as they're wont to do. Now, James O'Keefe and his team, it's hit or miss for me. I think sometimes they miss. I think
what was their last big thing? Remember that was
during the campaign. The Creamy Bob,
oh right,
the convicted felon husband of Calamity Jan Schakowsky,
right. But
and
there's
another.
There was something after that didn't go. That wasn't as big.
Well, there
of
was
a deal.
CNN thing.
Oh, okay.
And so.
Oh, that's right. Inside when they're doing their morning meetings.
Yeah, and it was kind of there was kind of not much there, and then O'Keefe's narration in these videos too. This kind of dark, conspiratorial feel you get from his intermittent narration throughout the video when he's on camera is unnecessary. But nonetheless, this is an example of some pretty good work. And I guess the question is, particularly for you, Amy, since you spent many years in a newsroom with leftists.
38 years. No, 18 years. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, so think about, this.
I had no Republican bosses ever.
Well,
Not
right.
one.
So this supervising producer, John Bonifield, could have just as easily been a conversation between you and Carol Marin. But here's the thing. Is there anything on what O'Keefe exposed through his undercover reporter, somehow got into CNN, probably through the intern program or something, and was able to get the supervisory producer to let his guard down and speak freely? And boy, did he have things to say. So, for example, turns out the news business is a bit of a ratings business, not a truth business. This is the opening salvo of Mr. Bonifield talking to O'Keefe's reporter.
So you believe the Russia thing's a little crazy, right?
Even if Russia was trying to swing an election, we try to swing their elections. We're in our CIA and doing shit all the time. We're out there trying to manipulate governments. You win because you know the game and you play it right. She didn't play it right.
Then why is CNN constantly Russia this, Russia that?
Because it's ratings.
Because it's ratings?
Oh. Our ratings are incredible right now.
Because
it's ratings. And that's when he had the cup of coffee or he's drinking something. Remember, they're outside somewhere, and he's just relaxing and drinking something hey, it's ratings, man.
312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line, 64636DA, turnkey.pro text line. And then he gives Bonifield, as the conversation continues, he gives a specific example of Jeff Zucker, who's the president of CNN, talking about just comparing the devotion of coverage resources to another big story, say the Trump withdrawing from the Paris Climate Accords as compared to Russia and how that goes down.
So you believe the Russia thing's a little crazy, right?
Even if Russia was trying to swing an election, we try to swing their elections. We're in our CIA and doing shit all the time. We're out there trying to manipulate governments. You win because you know the game and you play it right. She didn't play it right.
Then why is CNN constantly Russia this, Russia that?
Because it's ratings.
Because it's ratings?
Our ratings are incredible right now.
In the month of May, CNN's ratings were significantly higher than they were the year before. The Russia story and Trump have made CNN millions.
Because of...
So, my boss, I shouldn't say this, my boss a couple days yesterday, we were having a discussion about this dental shoot, and he's like, I just want you to know what we're up against here. And he goes, just to give you some context, President Trump pulled out of the climate accords, and for a day and a half we covered the climate accords, and the CEO of CNN said in our internal meeting, he said, good job everybody covering the climate accords, but we're done with it, let's get back to Russia.
The CEO?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
So even the climate accords, he was okay, a day or so, but we're moving back to Russia.
All Russia all the time, as they've proven, but this is just giving you the rationale you probably suspected was true for the Russia coverage. It's twofold, I would suggest. One, it's ratings. It's producing results for CNN. And number two, it's a narrative that they want to be true because they want to see Trump deposed, just as the editors at the New York Times or the editors at the Washington Post do. There's no question about it.
But CNN has been, multiple media sources have reached out to them. And what they're saying is that they're not particularly concerned about his commentaries. They also said that Bonifield, how do you pronounce his name?
Bonifield.
Bonifield is also not close to the network's investigative news team, nor is he deeply involved in their editorial decision-making.
Well, he was at that meeting when Jeff
sure
Zucker
was.
told him we're back to Russia.
So it's more fake news from CNN.
And here's somebody, by the way, he's been at CNN 15 years.
Yeah,
this is not an intern, right? He's part of the culture. He knows the players. He knows the business. And listen to this discussion that Bonifield has with Project Veritas's undercover guy.
I mean, I understand it's all ratings, right?
Oh, it's a business. It's a business. People are like, the media has like an ethical... But all the nice, cutesy little ethics that used to get talked about in journalism school, you're just like, that's adorable. That's adorable. Yeah, this is a business. Especially cable news, you know. Cable news isn't the New York Times, and it's not even like NBC News. I mean, NBC News still gets 20 million viewers a night. Cable news is getting 1 million. So like they gotta do what they gotta do to make their money.
Yeah, you gotta spice it up. Ethics, oh, that's adorable.
That is so cute.
It's a business.
Attribution.
It's a business, but does this surprise anybody? It just, as much as this is being reported as a blockbuster expose, it's just confirming what you knew to be true, isn't it?
But I thought I heard James O'Keefe say that what's next is ABC's next, NBC, that they've infiltrated other newsrooms.
Okay.
Which I would like to see how a mainstream, a news organization such as NBC, if they're doing this too.
Well, I mean, based on the work product, they have to be similarly situated in terms of their attitude about ethics versus ratings versus the business.
No, because they have so many. I mean, all they do is news. Cable news. All they do is news. So you have to feed the beast constantly.
Yeah.
And NBC News, you break for programming. You have your soap operas during the day, your game shows. And then they have the nightly newscast, which is just a half hour long.
Fantastical stories with Brian Williams. Yeah, that's the paragon of standards. No, he's not. He's at MSNBC.
He's at MSNBC.
That's NBC. Bonifield goes on to compare the scrutiny CNN is giving Trump to the scrutiny they gave Obama and how people would react differently had they scrutinized Obama the same as they've scrutinized Trump.
I think that there are a lot of liberal CNN viewers who want to see Trump really get scrutinized, and I think if we would have behaved that way with President Obama and scrutinized everything that he was doing with as much scrutiny as we applied to Donald Trump, I think our viewers would have been turned off. I think they would have thought like we were attacking him. But I think our viewers right now, and I'm not saying all of our viewers are super liberals. I think there's just a lot of them, and
so Trump's good for business, you're saying?
Trump is good for business,
right?
now.
So a lot of their viewers are liberals. So we're going to tell the story the liberals want to hear, whether the facts back up that story or not.
But when they're not liberal enough, they go to MSNBC, because MSNBC right now, Rachel Maddow, her show's #1.
Yeah, but that's an opinion show. This is different. The three people, the three people who resigned over the story they had to retract about Anthony Scaramucci.
Hey, Anthony Scaramucci, yeah.
Thank you.
I got a guy.
So those were one was a Pulitzer Prize winning journalist. Eric Lichtblau won a Pulitzer Prize. He gone. The ideology is preeminent. That supersedes journalistic ethiks to the extent that anybody finds ethics anything other than adorable, as Bonifield characterized them. Now, and then here's kind of the coup de grace too.
Okay.
Bonifield suggests Trump has a point.
Honestly, you think the whole Russia is just bullshit?
Could be bullshit. I mean, it's mostly bullshit right now. We don't have any big giant proof. But then they say, well, there's still an investigation going on. And you're like, yeah. I don't know. If you were finding something, we'd know about it. The way these leaks happen, they'd leak it. It'd leak. If there was something really good, it would leak.
Yeah. It would have leaked before voting, I would say.
Well,
If anything was good out there, it would have came out already.
Yeah, the leaks keep leaking, and there's so many great leaks, and it's amazing, and I just refuse to believe that if they had something really good like that wouldn't leak, because we've been getting all these other leaks, so I just feel like they don't really have it, but they want to keep digging.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think the president is probably right to say, like, look, you are witch hunting me. Like, you have no smoking gun, you have no real proof.
The president is right to say you're witch hunting me.
Yeah.
15-year supervisory producer John Bonifield at CNN.
That was the elevator scene, by the way.
Yes.
The beeping that you heard.
Yes.
That's when they were. So they seem very comfortable together. As a, I mean, we'll find out. It was an intern, right?
It could have been Candy Crowley backing up. Is she still at CNN?
Stop it.
Oh,
That is
no.
so mean.
No.
No, she got big and ugly, and they got rid of her. That's what they do with women. Men can last forever, but women, bye-bye.
Well, I mean, when you're as pretty as Don Lemon or Gloria Vanderbilt's kid.
Well, yeah. They're exceptions. They're anomalies.
Or Brian Stelter. Brian in Irving Park, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Your favorite.
Yeah, hi there. I just wanted to say that I think it's the most alarming thing to me about this is not just that he was caught on tape saying these things, but that he so breezily mocks journalistic ethics, and then they still say, okay, whatever. They don't fire him. They don't ask for his resignation. They just keep him on, What does that say about their whole institution's ethics? They just don't seem to have any. They don't seem to care.
Right. It says what John Bonifield is saying about the culture there is accurate. That's what it says.
Right. But he knows so much, and he's a medical producer. Do you realize that? Oh, I'm sorry to interrupt it. But, I mean, he's a medical producer. He's not even I'm sure he's at some of the meetings, but he knows exactly what's going on.
Yeah, I mean, he's there high enough up in the organization that for someone like that to say that, and they still keep him on, and I don't think it matters where he is in the hierarchy, that he would say something like that and they keep him on. I think that just shows such utter contempt for their industry and their viewers and their listeners. But the viewers and listeners don't seem to care, so there you go.
Thanks for the call, Brian. Tom in Deer Park.
There's nothing revelatory to me or pretty much to anybody about this that a cable TV station would seek to take a president down, as CNN does, or to build him up like the nonsense that Fox and Hannity and the crew over there. So, again, like the previous caller said, people want to be in their own echo chambers, and the cable stations are there to provide it, and that's why America is in such a dumbed-down condition.
Well,
I appreciate you and Twitter. I'm sorry.
But there is a difference at these cable news channels between Hannity or Maddow and the reporters. So at Fox News, I think it'd be difficult to impugn the integrity of, say, Catherine Herridge when it comes to reporting on national security issues. And the issue at CNN is it's indistinguishable. Don Lemon is indistinguishable from their Pulitzer Prize winning reporters. That's the problem.
Well, I'll give you this. I appreciate listening to both your station and what I get off of Twitter, because years ago, Dan, Amy, I turned off the cable, all of it. I used to watch the one station and say I owe it to myself, and I turn on the other for balance, so to speak. Mm-hmm. And maybe 4, 5, 6 years ago, it went off almost overnight cold turkey because it's a waste of my time. I'd rather pick stuff off of print. So that's my take. But we're locked in our echo chambers either way, and that's a bad scene, I think. So thank you.
Thanks for the call, Tom. And I got to say,
thanks for listening, Tom.
I got to say, I'm actually in his camp. I don't watch.
Really?
I don't watch any of this stuff either. I read it and I pick up clips or specific interviews, but I can't stand to watch any of the cable news channels.
Oh my
so
gosh,
I agree with
watch
Tom
them
about
every day for hours sometimes.
Oh.
Maybe that's what's wrong with me.
Well, there's some job openings at CNN.
Listen to Dan and Amy on your smartphone. Download the AM 560 mobile app today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
This is Dan Proft with 60 Seconds of Sanity, sponsored by Upstream-Ideas.com. In 2008, Barack Obama scaled Chicago's big government trafficking operation nationally. The nation got only a small taste of the damage Chicago's RICO-style governance inflicts. Illinois has not been so fortunate. The kleptocratic kingpins who run the city that works you over have relegated Illinois to the status of a cautionary tale as to how a poisonous government-centric culture turns the state into one giant Ponzi scheme. Politics pervades everything in Illinois. The result is that the nation's highest
highest combined state and local tax burden has proven no match for the spending appetites of Pauls, who've racked up $250 billion in debt while skipping out on more tabs than Leona Helmsley in her heyday. With collapse in the offing, the Sicarios for Illinois' political crime family seek a federal lifeline in the form of state bankruptcy. Congress should consider removing sovereign immunity protections to make an example of those who turned Illinois into the bad example. Of America's 50 laboratories of democracy, Illinois is the meth lab. If we want to prevent more states from getting hooked on junk governance, the Bernie Madoff treatment should be applied to those who cook the books in Illinois.
Are you or a family member suffering from addiction or substance abuse? If you or someone you love is struggling with addiction, don't know where to go, or have relapsed, Haymarket Center can help. Haymarket Center wants you and your family to know that addiction is a treatable medical condition. With more than 30 comprehensive programs, Haymarket Center has successfully provided addiction solutions for tens of thousands of individuals and their families since 1975. Haymarket Center's comprehensive approach is at the heart of what they do. They address the whole person, including their substance abuse, mental health, and medical care. Their family-based treatment plan allows families to be part of the treatment program so everyone can be part of the recovery. Treatment does work. There can be a solution. Recovery is possible. Haymarket Center's message to you: hope starts here. Call Haymarket Center now for an assessment at 312-CAN-HELP, 312-CAN-HELP, or visit hcenter.org. That's hcenter.org.
You are about to hear from Dr. Douglas Howard.
After 20 years and tens of thousands of success stories, Balance of Nature is still the only pure whole food supplement available. Balance of Nature has served more than 500 million servings of fruits and vegetables. Don't accept imitations, copies, or substitutions. Our success stories are unique to Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies. You'll know you have the real thing when you open the bottles and see, smell, and taste real produce.
It is worth every penny I pay because they really have made such a difference in my life. It is making me feel a whole lot better.
Even my doctor thought it was a good product.
Take Dr. Howard's Health Challenge and find out how to get 2 free sets of fruits and veggies. We'll even ship them to you for free. Call now for details.
Call 800-2468-751. That's 800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com.
Use promo code Chicago.
AM 560, The Answer.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
We educate our technical producer, Justin, about who Joe Namath was. That's later in the show.
Seriously, I said, can you pull the bite of Joe Namath and that reporter Susie Colburn?
Susie Colburn.
Yeah.
The last name again is Joe. We're old.
Oh,
we're so old.
We're so old.
Our producer thinks Broadway Joe is a guy who hangs out in chaps on the north side there. But not next. Coming up, 3 more Chicago police officers charged in the Laquan McDonald case. What about Rahm Emanuel? What's his role if there was a conspiracy to cover up what had occurred? We'll take your calls on that at 5:38.
But first, let's go into the newsroom and say good morning to Mike Scott.
Amy and Dan, here are the stories we're following this morning in the Nissan of St. Charles newsroom. Nissan of St. Charles, home of the Lifetime Advantage warranty. More cyber attacks are hindering government agencies and companies, mostly in Europe this morning. About 80 companies in Russia, Ukraine, and the Netherlands have been affected by the virus, including the Ukraine government's computer network and a major shipping company in the Netherlands. President Trump says Senate Republicans are getting close to having the votes to pass that health insurance reform law. He made the comments as he opened a hastily called meeting with Senate Republicans at the White House yesterday. Majority Leader Mitch McConnell overnight is beginning slowing down the big Republican health care push. The Kentucky Republican has delayed a vote on that bill until after the 4th of July recess. Venezuela on high alert for a possible coup attempt. Police helicopters opened fire on an interior ministry building and dropped at least 4 grenades on the Supreme Court. The president is blaming what happened on terrorists looking to overthrow his government. Some on the ground believe it was Maduro himself who is creating the chaos. A 21-year-old North Carolina man is going to prison for life for trying to plot a terror attack with ISIS. Justin Sullivan pleaded guilty to providing material support to ISIS by purchasing weapons and planning to kill hundreds. The U.S. Supreme Court will hear New Jersey's case to legalize sports gambling in the state. New Jersey wants to overturn the 1992 Sports Protection Act, which prohibits sports betting in 46 states. 3 current or former Chicago police officers are accused of taking part in a cover-up to protect the officer who shot and killed Laquan McDonald in 2014. Special Prosecutor Patricia Brown announcing that indictment yesterday, charging officers Joseph Walsh and Thomas Gaffney, along with Detective David March.
This indictment alleges that these defendants lied about what occurred during a police-involved shooting in order to prevent independent criminal investigators from learning the truth.
Gaffney is the only officer still with the Chicago Police Department. Store owners across the state are asking a judge to stop or at least slow down Cook County's new soda tax. The Illinois Retail Merchants Association will be in a Cook County courtroom later today pleading their case. The Cubs make an informal visit to the White House today. Manager Joe Madden, who has a couple of friends who are in the House of Representatives, says the trip isn't mandatory for the players, although Albert Elmora Jr., Anthony Rizzo, and John Lackey will attend. Cubs allowed 7 stolen bases to the Nationals in a 6-1 loss in D.C. White Sox rally for a 4-3 win over the Yankees, and the Bulls elect not to extend an offer to guard Michael Carter-Williams. The news service of NTB. Get your 5-quart conventional oil change today, just $19.99, plus $3 disposal fee for tires, oil, service, and repairs. National Tire and Battery, that's all you need. 5:34, a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Mike Gallagher wants the GOP to rally together.
You may be the first president in history to go down because you can't stop inappropriately talking about an investigation.
Well, no, he may be the first president to go down because he can't get fellow Republicans like you to support him. I don't know why this is so hard for Republicans to muster at least the pretense of support for a president who is under siege by the American media.
The Mike Gallagher Show, weekdays at 9, right before Dennis Prager at 11 on AM 560. The Answer.
Visit Discount Tire this Friday and Saturday for up to $320 in Visa prepaid cards when you buy select packages with Discount Tire credit. Discount Tire, America's neighborhood tire store.
Hi, this is John Taffer from Bar Rescue. I've worked with over 1,000 restaurants, so I know firsthand what it's like to need extra funding to buy equipment or to manage cash flow gaps. I even had to sell ownership in a restaurant because I didn't have the capital I needed at the time. With Cabbage, you don't have to be in that position. Cabbage offers lines of credit of up to $150,000. Apply online and you'll get a decision right away. I signed up in a few simple steps and had funding in minutes. Since Cabbage is a line of credit, you can take the exact amount you need when you need it. You never have to reapply to take additional loans, and you'll only pay for the funds you use. Cabbage has helped more than 100,000 businesses from every industry with over $3 billion in funding. Cabbage is A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau and was named the Forbes Top 100 company twice in a row. Whether you own a restaurant or any type of small business, get started at cabbagewithak.com/owner or call 855-CABBAGE, KABBAGE.
Line of credit is subject to credit approval. See terms and conditions.
I hate cleaning my gutters. I kept hearing ads for that gutter guard system, so I thought, why not? I'll get an estimate. I was shocked. I never thought gutter guards could cost so much. Then I heard about Spring Rock gutter guards. The estimate is free, so it made sense to at least compare them. I was shocked again by how much money they saved me. I'm talking thousands, like enough to take my family to Disney World. They take a different approach to gutter protection. A completely closed design keeps all types of debris out of your gutters. Sure, those higher-priced systems may keep the leaves out, but Spring Rock gets the job done at up to half the price with no compromise on quality. Spring Rock also comes with the same lifetime warranty. If the gutter system ever clogs, they will clean it out for free, no questions asked. Same result for less money. That's smart. There's more than one option when it comes to gutter guards. Compare today and save at springrockgutters.com or call 708-571-0632. Special financing is available. Drain your gutters, not your wallet.
5:36. Let's get an update on the roads this morning in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center. Here's Jim.
Thanks, Mike. All clear on the Edens and the Kennedy right now. The Eisenhower looking good as well. Inbound Stevenson, delays start at Western Avenue. 38 minutes from 355 to Lakeshore Drive. Outbound 5 to 34. Inbound Ryan just a little tight approaching downtown. Outbound heavy 87th to 95th. 3 left lanes are closed for CTA work. That's 16 minutes either way between 95th and downtown. I-57, 22 minutes. I-80 to the Verge. Bishop Ford just 16. The tollways are fine. Northwest Indiana 2. Traffic is a service of NTB. Get your 5-quart conventional oil change today. Just $19.99 plus $3 disposal fee. For tires, oil, service, and repairs, National Tire and Battery. That's all you need. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte. AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the AirComfort.com Weather Center, providing the right climate for business since 1935. Cloudy, windy, some midday rain, maybe a late-day thunderstorm, and a high of 83. Storms crossing Iowa this morning. 60 at O'Hare. Next news coming up at 6. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by the Money Hour radio show, Saturday afternoons at 3 on AM 560, The Answer. Brought to you by Pearshell Financial Group.
Only the biggest stories, only the biggest guests, and only the biggest opinions. This is AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. So as Mike Scott was reporting, yesterday, 3 more Chicago police officers were charged for allegedly attempting to cover up the shooting of Laquan McDonald by Officer Jason Van Dyke, who's awaiting trial.
Kind of obstruction of justice. I mean, they lied about what occurred and they mischaracterized allegedly the video recording so that the independent criminal investigators would not learn the truth about the killing and that the public would not see the video recordings. So they tried to stop those from going public.
So did the Corp Council. So did the city's Corp Council. So why isn't that person named?
That's a good point. Is that person Mayor Emanuel?
The 11-page indictment, Sun-Times reporting, lays out a conspiracy by the 3 officers alleged. The indictment refers to Van Dyke as Individual A, also includes other officers identified as unidentified individuals B through G. The investigation is ongoing. So, according to the special prosecutor, Patricia Brown Holmes, this is not necessarily the end of the investigation.
Yeah, the grand jury is still meeting, and she came out yesterday and tried to lay out the charges against these 3 men. 2 of the officers have retired, but 1 is still on the force, but now he's suspended without pay.
They failed to interview specific witnesses, that they lied or provided false or misleading or mischaracterized information on official forms, and that they failed to complete the investigation of the incident in a manner that would reveal the truth.
I mean, they were allegedly trying to protect their buddy.
Jason Van Dyke's attorney, Dan Herbert, released a statement yesterday in which he says, among other things, this new indictment is further proof that the government is determined to prevent Jason Van Dyke from receiving a fair trial by silencing any potential witness. Apparently, the rule of law is trumped by special interest groups and politicians. If the conspiracy alleged in the indictment is true, which is false, then this is the tip of the iceberg. The officers are charged with conspiring to ensure the public would not see the video recordings of the event. If true, then the entire command staff of the police department, including the former and current superintendents, must be part of the conspiracy, considering they were aware of the reports and video when they signed off on the shooting.
Well, Walsh was Van Dyke's partner, and he was present at the shooting. Gaffney, with the other officer, or the detective, was at the scene. And it's all about whether or not Laquan McDonald, who was armed with a knife, lunged at officers.
Well, that's the Jason Van Dyke part of it.
But Walsh was there. That was his partner.
Yes,
they rolled up on the scene together.
But this is after the fact. They're being charged for what they did after the fact. Conspiracy to cover up. That's essentially
by
the bottom
ignoring
line.
information and not interviewing key witnesses.
So I'm not saying that the charges against these officers aren't true, but if there's a conspiracy to cover up, you think it's limited to the 3 officers at this pay grade? The preemptory, $5 million check to Laquan McDonald's family that came from the 5th floor, came from Tiny Dancer and his legal team? The suppression of the video and the effort by Tiny Dancer and his legal team to suppress the release of that video? The throwing Gary McCarthy under the bus for the handling of this? So, I mean, does Dan Herbert, Van Dyke's attorney, have a point when he says if this is a conspiracy to cover up, you have to go beyond these officers to the command structure that actually makes these decisions, including the civilian political command structure, and review the decision-making that was coming from Tiny Dancer and his legal team, don't you? 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. 64636DA, turnkey.pro text. Now, I understand Tiny Dancer can't be bothered with this right now because he's talking to welfare queen Elon Musk about digging a tunnel from the city's downtown to O'Hare.
And I want a speed train from O'Hare to Chicago.
More high-speed rail.
Yeah.
Getting
and
you
putting it on top of if they can't go underneath the city, they're going to go on top of the blue line.
Yeah.
What could go wrong?
Okay, maybe we can finance this with all the Tesla subsidies, Elon.
But you make up a good point. I mean, if those officers are arrested or charged, with covering up a crime or not releasing video or letting others know in the police report that there is video, then that's the same thing that Rahm Emanuel did.
Yeah, so the questions from the docile Chicago press corps, are other officers going to be charged? Is anybody asking about what about a review, since this investigation is ongoing, according to the special prosecutor? What about a review of the civilian political leadership's involvement in this case? What they did or didn't do? Putting together a very detailed chronology from the shooting all the way around to the ultimate release of the video to the release of Gary McCarthy. I would love to see some questions at minimum put to Tiny Dancer and his legal eagles up there on the 5th floor. Is that fair? I think so. By the way, a related story, I just want to point this out. There's a very good piece in Chicago Magazine, What Cops Know. This is this reporter, Peter Nikias. He picked up on, did you ever read the Connie Fletcher book, What Cops Know?
No.
This was a compilation of stories. This is probably 30 years ago. And this is essentially revisiting, putting that question to police officers. The author of the Chicago Magazine piece, he writes, I talked to a dozen officers, black and white, men and women, rookies and veterans, patrol cops and sergeants, detectives and undercover investigators, and he just had them essentially give their perspective. Some of the stories, for example, just give you some example. One female on the job. The police department wasn't offensively anti-woman when I started. It was more like, what are we going to do with you? She goes on to talk about her first few days. I got tired of the despair right off the bat. I never thought that people lived like that. On my second day, someone threw a refrigerator out the window on top of the squad car. Lucky for us, we were in the building. We come out, there's a big refrigerator. One story. Another story, human life means nothing to them. There used to be certain things that were just off limits. Elderly people, shooting in people's windows, shooting at cars. The gang leaders didn't allow recklessness. Anybody couldn't just get a gun. They wouldn't order an effing shooting of a guy just because he tagged an effing building. Even in gang life, you have to have a chain of command, and now you got none. These kids are not operating on a human level. They have no sense of right and wrong. Human life means nothing to them. Another perspective. You can earn a PhD in humanity driving it around in a squad car, says another officer. These intellectual elites, the only thing they know about the human condition they purchased in a college bookstore. They've never been in the arena. They've never seen it. You can earn a PhD in humanity or in humanity just by driving around in the squad car for an entire summer on the south or west side. Another officer's perspective. These kids, they're numb. Domestics are some of the worst calls. You see these kids, they've got bed bugs, and they're living in squalor, and they sleep on a filthy mattress they probably got out of an alley somewhere, and they've got nothing to eat. There are cockroaches all over the place. The parents are fighting. These kids, they see this, and they're numb. Some of them, they walk around with blank stares, just cold. And when you hear about kids dogfighting or lighting dogs on fire and abusing animals, you can understand. I don't mean to give them excuses, but how can you have any affection for an animal when nobody's ever shown you affection? And this on the use of force from another officer. I don't have an issue with an officer using force. I have an issue with guys who go into a situation, escalate it, MF people, or look for a fight. We're always going to have guys who want to do that. How do you rein them in? It's supervision, and we don't have any supervision. He goes on to just add this. If you wholly disarm the police, as some want to essentially suggest you do, put them back on their heels, and say that every criminal justice-related issue is now going to be handled by people who hand out hugs and lollipops and job applications, do you think it would have any effect on crime and hatred in any of the neighborhoods? Do you think that crime would go down, the gang members would disenroll? Just because it looks ugly doesn't mean it's wrong. I had a woman running after a man in the projects with a cleaver in her hand. He's going, shoot her, shoot her. I just come up to her and pull the cleaver from her hand. People said you should have shot her. She just didn't look threatening to me. There are two kinds of mess-ups. There's you effed up, but your heart was in the right place, and then there's you effed up because you're a jagbag and you knew what you were doing. These cops deserve to get stung. So, obviously the latter category. But it's just, it's worth reading What Cops Know in Chicago Magazine to get a dozen or so perspectives on what it's like to be a police officer and these different police officers' experience with their different levels of experience. It's illuminating. And, I don't think it's disconnected from the Laquan McDonald case and some of the issues about supervision. They didn't really get into it here, but I would love to prompt them to talk about the civilian political leadership of this city, past and present, and how that impacts how they do their job, and why the civilian political leadership should somehow be insulated from accountability. The entire focus is on the rank-and-file police officers, the Van Dykes of the world, and I understand the focus in this case, but what about the leadership? Don't you look at the leadership of any organization if that organization is functioning suboptimally? Why don't we do that with Chicago police? Rick in Westchester, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
I think it's important to remind the mayor, as this investigation trickles up to his office, that primary motivation is to make sure we let no crisis go to waste. Those were his words, I believe. So I thought I'd throw that out there.
Yeah, right. Thanks for the call, Rick.
The stories you need to know to start your day. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
A good parking lot is essential to a good building and a good business.
This is Kevin Berquist. My company is SKC Construction, home of GreatParkingLots.com. Great parking lots. The name says it all. We make your parking lot great. We are an industry leader in seal coating. You can trust our company to do the work for your company. We have the same traditional values as you. We use a process and application that makes sure you get a great job that lasts a long time. I guarantee you'll have a good experience. Go to our website, GreatParkingLots.com. Check it out, GreatParkingLots.com.
Go to GreatParkingLots.com. Schedule a free inspection and get a quote to make your parking lot a great parking lot. Save the expense. Fix, don't replace. Contact SKC Construction now for commercial parking lot seal coating and maintenance. SKC Construction, home of GreatParkingLots.com. GreatParkingLots.com.
I have to tell you, I'm watching the Laquan McDonald video again, Dan, and I'm on Jason Van Dyke's side. I would have shot him too.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, he was posing a threat. He was running from police. You can see them talking to him like, hey, put your weapon down, put your weapon down. And he's in the middle of the street, and he's about to walk into a residential neighborhood.
For the defense would like to call Amy Jacobson to the stand.
Yes, thank you. I'm an expert. Hey, if you haven't bought a MyPillow yet, why not? Maybe you've seen them in a store, but the radio deal using my name, Amy, as the promo code is a much better deal. In fact, it's the best deal available. And this month, you'll receive 50% off the MyPillow 4-pack. It's 2 premium MyPillows, 2 Go Anywhere MyPillows for 50% off. You can move the patented fill to give you the support you need. And when it gets dirty, you don't have to take it to the dry cleaners. Oh, no, you just wash it and dry it at home. It's hypoallergenic if you have allergies. And there's a 10-year warranty and a 60-day money-back guarantee. So go to MyPillow.com, promo code Amy, A-M-Y, or go old school and call the 800 number. That's what I do. 800-489-0201. That's 800-489-0201.
Hey, protect your firearms and valuables in the best. A Liberty Safe from Maxson Shooters Supply. Maxson is Illinois' largest Liberty Safe dealer and stocks the complete line of Liberty Safes the best money can buy. Not in stock? Maxson will order it. You can pick it up at Maxson or have it delivered and installed almost anywhere in your home. And for a limited time, Liberty is offering interest-free financing for qualified customers. Owning a Liberty Safe has never been so easy. No money down and 0% financing for year one. Hey, visit LibertySafe.com for details. For over 25 years, millions of American homes have trusted Liberty Safes to protect their guns, keep them out of reach of children, and protect their valuables from theft and fire. Liberty stands behind every safe with a lifetime warranty. If anyone tries to break into your Liberty Safe, they'll repair or replace it for free. Hey, choose the best. Trust a Liberty Safe from Maxson Shooter Supply in Des Plaines. Visit MAXON shooters.com or shop online at libertysafe.com.
You're the one that gets it done. The person your friends call to see if you can fix it. Brakes? No biggie. Shocks and struts? Simple and straightforward. The catalytic converter heat shield? Come on. If it has wheels, you can make it go. But not having the right part can bring your project to a screeching halt. Problem solved with MyPartsGarage.com. My Parts Garage is not a big box store that needs to wait to get a part in. MyPartsGarage.com is the warehouse that sells wholesale to you. They own the inventory. Your part is always in stock. But wait, there's more. Like free shipping within 24 hours, in-state, next-day delivery, or pick it up today at the warehouse. Right now, MyPartsGarage.com will price match your order, and yes, the shipping is still free. The last thing you need to do is drive fast and furiously to find parts. The average driver in Chicago commutes at least 24 miles per day. People are spending more hours in their car than they do at home. Drivers need you. You need MyPartsGarage.com. Lowest prices guaranteed and free shipping.
It's no secret buying a new vehicle can be a huge stressor. Trying to decide between what you like, what best fits your budget, and choosing the right dealership can create downright anxiety. Well, take a breath because Joe Cotton Ford has you covered. Buying your next vehicle from Joe Cotton Ford is a different experience. They promise no hassles, no drama, no high-pressure sales tactics, period. What's the Joe Cotton Ford difference? Well, they're a local business that cares about building a relationship with you, your family, and the community. They're not just another car dealer looking to churn and burn the next customer who walks in the door. Just ask Tracy Kahn, Vice President, General Manager, and Carol Stream, Citizen of the Year. He sets the high standards for the Joe Cotton Ford team, which volunteers hundreds of hours of community service every year. Get to Joe Cotton Ford today and drive home your new Ford car, truck, or SUV. You'll receive white glove service in a relaxed setting. Gary and North Avenue in Carroll Stream or at joecottonford.com. That's joecottonford.com.
You all know America's Bar and Grill in Hoffman Estates has the best Tuesday night trivia in the Northwest Burbs, right? Woo! Yes! Good. But did you know every time you play and win at America's Bar and Grill, you and all your trivia teammates are qualified to win tickets aboard their 8th annual party bus to a Cubs game?
That's right, baby. VIP.
Plus, all trivia players receive 30% off their food orders. Now, just for listening to AM 560 The Answer, they're offering you a chance to qualify to win 2 tickets aboard the America's Bar party bus to a Cubs game. Just answer this simple trivia question. What movie is this quote from? You're killing me, Smalls. Post your answer on the America's Bar and Grill Facebook page, and you're entered to win. It's that easy. For more info about America's Bar and Grill, visit americasbar.com or on Facebook at America's Bar and Grill. America's Bar and Grill, they have it all. Sports, indoor bags, pool tables, darts, dancing, and Trivia Tuesdays.
The temperature this summer is on the rise, and everyone is talking about one person, President Donald Trump. As controversy swirls around his presidency and the Democrats and the mainstream media take aim, what will happen next? Join AM 560's Joe Walsh for the Summer of Trump, Tuesday, August 22nd at the Bolingbrook Golf Club, also featuring Hugh Hewitt and Guy Benson. Tickets are on sale now at 560theanswer.com/summer. That's 560theanswer.com/summer.
5:57, a check of the roads in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center with Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. Traffic is heavy on northbound I-55 Veterans Parkway to Lamont Road for a crash has been reported. See more delays First Avenue to Kedzie and in pockets from Western to Lakeshore Drive. 51 minutes, 3:55 to the drive, 34 from the Tri-State. Outbound okay. Eden's clear. Kennedy, 22 minutes. O'Hare to downtown. Outbound 20. Inbound Eisenhower, 41 minutes. Thorndale to the post office. Outbound 29. Ryan, 27 minutes. 95th to downtown. I-57, 31 minutes. I-80 to the merge. Bishop Ford, 25. And traffic is a service of Staples. When it's time for last-minute changes to a big presentation, let Staples be your office away from your office with everything you need to print, scan, or fax. Access files from a USB, email, or the cloud, and use the self-serve machines to avoid waiting. Get back to business. Staples, it's pro time. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues after a full update from Fox News and your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the aircomfort.com Weather Center with our meteorologist, Kevin Snyder.
Today, mostly cloudy, windy, and warm with occasional rain and a thunderstorm. During the midday, high 83. Severe thunderstorm this evening, then a passing shower late tonight, a low 69. I'm Kevin Snyder on AM 560. The Answer.
The news, a service of Discover Student Loans, figuring out how to cover college costs. Discover Student Loans, one of the top private student loan lenders in the country with great rates, zero fees, plus students can earn a cash reward for their good grades. Visit discoverstudentloans.com to apply today. Limitations apply. At 5:59, here are the stories we're following in the Nissan of St. Charles newsroom. More cyber attacks hindering government agencies and companies across the globe today. Fox with the latest on that story in just a moment. 3 former or current Chicago police officers are accused in taking part in a cover-up to protect the officer who shot and killed Laquan McDonald in 2014. An investigation continues following a 2-vehicle crash in Chicago that killed an off-duty police officer and another woman. Store owners across the state are asking a judge to stop or at least slow down Cook County's new soda tax. And the Cubs make an informal visit to the White House today. Cubs allow 7 stolen bases in a loss to the Nationals. White Sox, thanks to a Jose Abreu 2-out 2-run single in the bottom of the ninth, beat the Yankees. More Dan and Amy after Fox News. WIND Chicago News Time, 6.
They don't have enough votes. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. That's why replacing Obamacare is on hold at the Senate until after the July 4th break, which is fine with Democratic leader Chuck Schumer.
The Republican bill is rotten at the core.
Fox's Rachel Sutherland live in Washington.
Dave, there are sharp divisions between Republicans. Some say the bill doesn't go far enough to reduce premiums. Senator Rand Paul.
It has to be more of a repeal bill. We keep too many of the Obamacare regulations.
Other Republicans are worried about rolling back Medicaid expansion. It's Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell's job to work out a deal. He says lawmakers need more time.
We're continuing to talk about it. It's a very complicated subject.
President Trump says Obamacare is melting down and remains hopeful about the prospects for the Senate bill. Dave.
Rachel, a cyber attack spreading globally, but contained in some places. Fox's Alistair Wanklin live in our European bureau.
Dave, London-based advertising giant WPP says it's trying to restore systems. Russia's biggest oil company reported problems, and Danish shipping giant Maersk is unable to take orders. Computers also went down at a unit of a French investment bank. Many companies affected appear to have ties with Ukraine, where the Prime Minister has called it an unprecedented attack. The virus wipes or encrypts data. It then demands a ransom of $300 in Bitcoin. The attack resembling one last month that hit almost 1/3 of a million computers worldwide. nationwide. Dave?
Alistair, President Trump's former campaign manager Paul Manafort's registered as a foreign agent with the Justice Department after his firm did $17 million of consulting work with a pro-Russian party in Ukraine. Manafort says it has no relation to the presidential campaign. It happened between 2012 and 2014. President Trump's already thinking about 2020, holding his first fundraiser tonight.
The money from donors who spend $35,000 or $100,000 each to be there will go to two joint fundraising operations: Trump Victory, which will take in large donations, and the Trump Make America Great Again Committee for smaller dollar donors.
Fox's John Decker, Fox News, fair and balanced.
I'm Nick Soboleski, a SelectQuote agent with a true story that could save you hundreds of dollars a year. A woman named Linda just called. Her husband, Ray, has a $300,000 group life insurance policy, but is changing jobs and can't take it with him. Well, I impartially shopped the highly rated term life insurance companies we represent and found Ray, who is 41 and takes medication to control his cholesterol, a 10-year, $500,000 policy for under $26 a month. That's almost twice the coverage for less than half of what he had paid. If SelectQuote hasn't shopped for your life insurance, you're probably paying too much.
For your free quote, call 1-800-348-2121. That's 1-800-348-2121. 1-800-348-2121. Or go to SelectQuote.com. We shop, you save. Get full details on the example policy at SelectQuote.com/commercials. Your price can vary depending on your health, issuing company, and other factors. Not available in all states.
All right, I have to admit it was an eyesore. The chipping and paint peeling on our front and back porch, it looked awful. But thanks to CertaPro painters, the porch looks brand new. The painters who showed up were professional, respectful. They were done in just a few hours, and when they left, the house looked brand new. They really are the best in the business, and it's not too late to book your exterior painting project. There are several spots open on CertaPro's summer schedule. Here's an idea. Let CertaPro painters transform your home while you're on vacation and return to a freshly painted house. They're celebrating their 25th anniversary this year, and so we invite you to experience the CertaPro difference. For a free estimate, call 1-800-GO-CERTA, C-E-R-T-A, or visit CertaPro.com, that's Certa with the C. Get that painting project off your to-do list. Each CertaPro painter's business is independently owned and operated. CertaPro painters, we do painting, you do life.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Power Trading Radio. Heard Sundays at 2 p.m. Brought to you each week by Online Trading Academy.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. So Mitch McConnell delayed the vote on Obamacare replacement in the Senate till after the July 4th holiday. Doesn't have the votes.
Yeah, this morning they're saying 9 Republican senators now oppose the current health care bill.
Mm-hmm.
But that doesn't mean it's over.
So here's the question that the Wall Street Journal puts to conservatives who oppose the bill. And, I mean, ultimately to some of the moderates who have concerns about the bill in its current form as well. Republicans can either set aside their narrow self-interest and fix Obamacare on their terms, or they can collapse in disarray and bail it out on Schumer's. In 2018, they can defend an accomplishment or try to explain away a failure. Americans will know the difference. Is that your feeling? 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. 64636DA, turnkey.pro text line. McConnell has telegraphed, and the Wall Street Journal picked up on that if the GOP can't get it done, then, per the warning McConnell issued to his caucus, then you're looking at working with Chuck Schumer and enlisting some Democrats to do something that would pass muster with Chuck Schumer. What's that going to look like? Better? More substantial reform? Less substantial reform? What do you think? By the way...
Oh, you want to hear the crier?
Schumer?
Okay, yeah. He was a little happy.
Pagliacci?
Yeah,
sure.
Pagliacci was very happy yesterday.
No matter how the bill changes around the edges, it is fundamentally flawed at the center. The American people don't want Medicaid slashed. They don't want help. They don't want the help they need to fight opioid addiction, to help their parents in nursing homes, to help those with pre-existing conditions, and just to help the average person who needs good health care. The American people don't want all that changed and eliminated. The Republican bill is rotten at the core. The American people are not for big tax breaks to the wealthiest of Americans, nor are they for dramatically cutting their health care.
You get it.
And it goes on.
That guy is who Republicans would need to enlist if they can't get 50 Republicans to support some version of a replacement. Is that the path you want to go down? It's a legitimate question the Wall Street Journal raises. Here, by the way, here's an underreported story since we like numbers associated with this.
Yeah.
Talked a lot about the CBO number yesterday. That was blaring headlines from all the D.C. outlets. What about this headline that you find in very few outlets? Thankfully, the Washington Examiner, one of them. According to the Kaiser Family Foundation, premiums are projected to rise 74% for some plans under Obamacare if nothing is done. A new analysis estimates that average monthly premiums for Obamacare plans would climb 74% in 2020 from prices under current law. The increase of 74% for a silver plan, the middle tier of Obamacare plans, is in stark contrast to an estimate from the CBO that said premiums would be about 30% lower than the current law. Premiums for certain age groups and incomes would suffer more. For instance, they go the older people under the Senate bill, people with incomes under 200% of the federal poverty level would pay more, and so on and so forth. The Senate bill revises income eligibility for tax credits, extending eligibility to people with incomes below poverty, but capping eligibility at 350% of the poverty level. Right, so they do a needs-based subsidy model, tax credit model, subsidy model, rather than essentially a flat rate model that Paul Ryan used. And the needs-based makes more sense if you're going to do this at all. So what do you want to do? What do you want to see Congress do? And we can have the discussion about government getting out of the health insurance business and not being the largest purchaser of health care in this country, as it was pre-Obamacare and certainly is expanded under Obamacare. We can talk about just repealing the tax increases. We can talk about rethinking the employer-driven system of health insurance provision. None of those things are going to happen. So in the short term, like between now and the fall, what do you want to see Republicans do? Do you want to see them try and put perfume on these two pigs, the one that came out of the House and the one the Senate is trying to cobble together? Or do you just want them to stand by and let the whole thing collapse and blame Democrats when it comes to 2018? Understanding it's a difficult argument to make when you're in charge of both the executive and the legislative branches.
Well, they did do something. I mean, President Trump called all the GOP senators to the East Room yesterday so they could all air their grievances and start working together. Because remember, they had just 6 senators, and even Mike Lee from Utah was supposed to be in on the process, and they left him out. So it's kind of been a secretive process so far. But they came together yesterday, and President Trump, well, listen to what he said.
We have really no choice but to solve this situation. Obamacare is a total disaster. It's melting down as we speak. Rates are going up. In fact, it's very interesting, Lisa, that you're sitting next to me, because in Alaska it was 206%, a 206% increase in Alaska. And I used to use Arizona as the standard. That was 116%. So it's really meltdown, and we're going to try and solve the problem. So I invited all of you, and I think we have either 52 out of 52 or 50 out of 52. And John, either one is pretty good, I think, as a percentage. So we're going to talk, and we're going to see what we can do. We're getting very close. But for the country, we have to have health care. And it can't be Obamacare, which is melting down. The other side is saying all sorts of things before they even knew what the bill was. This will be great if we get it done, and if we don't get it done, it's just going to be something that we're not going to like, and that's okay, and I understand that very well. But I think we have a chance to do something very, very important for the public, very, very important for the people of our country that we love.
So, and
if we don't like it, that's okay.
So President Trump is doing more or less what he said he was going to do in a roundabout way. He's not real keen on the details in this policy area, but this is kind of what he said. You know, the statements in the campaign about everybody having health insurance and so forth. This is some facsimile of what he was offering as a candidate. This is what we voted for as a nation. And so, are you going to take something I think could be fairly called incrementalism in reform, or are you going to take the position that it's got to be system change, radical structural change to how we do health insurance in this country, or nothing? Here's the problem with that position, and this is also commented on in the Journal op-ed I'm mentioning. The idea persists in some media and GOP ranks that if the Senate bill dies, this will produce a blossoming of bipartisanship. The left will have been repudiated by Obamacare's woes and the right by the GOP Congress's failure. Everyone can then sit down in the glorious middle and work out a compromise. It's a lovely thought, like peace on earth and the end of original sin. It's also a fantasy. If the Republicans can't leverage their majorities to present a unified vision for what they want to do in replacement of Obamacare, then things will get worse. Is that in controversy? The idea of having to enlist Chuck Schumer, who says the Senate bill, as incremental as that is on a number of fronts, although substantial on the tax and spend front, as is the House bill, but overall, I think it's fair to say it's rather incremental. Rand Paul would certainly say that. Mike Lee would say that. Ron Johnson would say that. Ted Cruz would say that. But the guy who says the Senate bill is rotten to his core is going to improve it if you can't get 50 GOP senators on board with something that 50 GOP senators can support. I mean, you have to deal with the political landscape as it is, not what you wish it would be, right? Travis in Highland Park, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hey, good morning, guys.
Morning.
So, I'm about to roll through the gate right now, but
all right.
My point is, when Obama wasn't president a year ago, they passed pretty much a clean repeal with exception of a few things. And now all of a sudden when they have a Republican president that's going to sign the law, they can't pass that same repeal. That, to me, tells me a lot about the Republican Party.
Well, right.
Well, but also, is Mitch McConnell, is he effective in his position to try and persuade, the senators to all vote the same?
I mean, this is not dead. I mean, it's delayed.
It's not dead at all.
This is the same thing we saw in the House. The question is, to Travis's point, and I agree with him, look, right, it's easy to make a symbolic vote when there's no chance of having to defend it in detail, right? There's no chance of it being implemented. So this is just, it's easy, and that's what, frankly, being in the opposition is. You stake out opposition to the policy agenda of the party that you oppose. So that's what they did. The Obamacare repeal votes were flag-waving votes, not flag-advancing votes. Now they're in power, they've got to advance the flag, and particularly with Obamacare descending into oblivion. So it's a different dynamic. I can understand why people say, oh, right, you did all of the grandstanding when there was no implications. Not that there are implications, you can't get your act together. That's a fair criticism. But you also have to understand that there's a different responsibility, opportunity dynamic when you're the majority governing party than when you're the minority opposition party. Thanks for the call.
It's going to make for an interesting July 4th recess. I mean, there's going to be a lot of parades that these senators are in, and I wonder if, conservative activists or liberal activists are going to be interrupting those parades.
I hope there's security, too.
Oh, good point.
Mike on the north side.
Hi, kids. Thanks for taking my call. You can't fix Obamacare vote it out of existence. Otherwise, you just have to defund it, not fund it every year. Make these people go to work. We have no way to make people work anymore. They don't even have to support their own families. The government does it. Pays for the groceries, pays for the housing, pays for the education. Now it pays for the health care. There's no way to force these people to get up and go to work. You have to force them out, let them die. Friday's the perfect example. Friday night, let me finish this, Dan. Friday night at 11:45, go to your local Jewel or Mariano's or Whole Foods. At midnight, the link cards are going to be recharged the beginning of the month. You're going to see people in new cars driving in with 2, 3, and 4 link cards, loading up on steak and lobster. We're no longer the city that can or the great American spirit anymore. It's gimme, gimme, gimme. And when I don't have any money and the government won't give me any more, I'll have a GoFundMe page. So I could beg on the internet.
Hey, we're starting a GoFundMe page for the diner. Are you in?
And for my legal defense
to rebuild
fund.
the diner.
Oh, yeah. That's an important one. You know why?
Why?
Because all those people end up coming west of Western Avenue and west of Kedzie and taking up spots in the places I go. We got to put these millennials and these yuppies back on the other side of Western. We don't want you. You can't get an egg white omelet, okay? You don't know what that is.
Thanks for the call, Mike.
Oh, yeah. How is your defense fund going?
You cannot be in the LGBT party, Mike, and the North Side's LGBT party, Love Guns, Bacon, and Trump, if you ordered egg white omelet. So you're on notice for those who are interested in joining Mike's party. So here's the thing. I mean, I don't disagree with what Mike is saying philosophically, but look, we didn't get here overnight. This is a long continuum. I mean, how long has the left been pushing for single payer? For decades, for generations. It predates Hillary Clinton, oh, by the way. That was their first real formal foray. And then 25 years later, you've got Obama doing the same. No, 20 years later, a little less. But so you're on a continuum. It was incremental. And, of course, what Obamacare is, because it was trying to get single payer through the back door because they couldn't get it through the front door. So I'm just trying to deal with the reality. And the reality is the cultural problem that Mike is speaking to is not going to be fixed by some, grand rethinking of how health insurance works in this country between now and the fall. That's just not where Republicans are. It's not where the country is. It's going to take a while, and it's going to necessitate an incremental approach to roll back Leviathan. It's just not going to be done in one fell swoop. It's just not. So,
but to show
if you believe that, then what do we want to do? How can we maximize the increment? That's the question. I mean, well,
wish I had the answer.
Well, I mean, that's a bit of a moving target.
Yes.
Jordan in Forest Park.
Yes. Good morning, Dan. I'm an insurance broker, and I've been doing this for a long time. I would say that 80% of the people that applied for policies prior to the ACA got the insurance. They were reasonably healthy. There may have been 1 or 2 pre-existing conditions that were a concern. If you got declined, you got the CHIP program, the Illinois CHIP program.
Yeah, right.
Very similar to the program in Wisconsin. It's very popular. Now the ACA, what it's done is these 80% of the people that got insurance policies, some of them were Democrats, some of those were Republicans. If the Senate or the House got together and said, we're bringing back individual underwriting because of that 80% of the population that's been punished by this, and you had the insurance companies come out and say, yeah, if you do medical underwriting, we're going to give you all these different plans, the rates would plummet, and the Democrats would now be in a dilemma. Now what do? We've got our constituents saying that premiums are going to go down 50% with all these new plans. I want my Democratic senator to vote for this. And I think Trump would get his votes. It would work. But the problem with the Republicans and the Democrats, they do not want to tell people that higher risk people for insurance should pay higher premiums. I mean, we do that for all the other insurance programs, auto insurance, homeowners, but not for health insurance because the insurance companies have no way of underwriting the risk. So and even with that, they've lost hundreds of millions of dollars, despite what Rand Paul says.
You know what? That's a really good way to put it. I like that because it reminds me of all the talk during when the housing bubble burst, and it was all about the 1 in 9 people in this country who were facing foreclosure, and we were supposed to be only concerned about them.
Yeah.
Rather than the 8 of 9 people.
That's right.
Who budgeted for the home, didn't use HELOCs as kind of a funny money fund to make risky real estate investments or the second home and so forth, improvements on the home. So what about the 80%? What about the 8 of 9 in the home case that I mentioned that play by the rules, budgeted for, took responsibility, are accountable to themselves and others by being responsible? What about that conversation? I think if you drove that conversation plus models like Wisconsin's high-risk pool as an addendum for those with pre-existing conditions, then I think you got something going. But you're right, Republicans aren't willing to make that argument.
Yeah, nobody wants to basically say, hey, higher risk means higher premiums. Now, you can figure out a way of helping the people that can't pay, because that's probably not going away, no matter what you say. It's not going to go away. And so, but this would be, conservatives would vote for that immediately. If you could do it, forget about this phasing in over 2 or 3 years. Just start it right away. Now, if you're, if you're not sure which way you want to go or what policy you want, okay, fine. But if you did that, you would get Democratic constituents on board with this because those are people that probably have few medical conditions. They're in the 80%. And they're going to put a pressure on their congressman saying, hey, why don't you vote for this? Why are you not helping me? You're already seeing a little bit of a groundswell since Obama has been out of office that, you've got Democratic constituencies saying, you guys have not been doing enough about the Affordable Care Act for me. You're hearing that now. And so I think that there's some pressure here. Now, the Senate bill, who knows? I mean, that's incrementalism.
No, but
nobody can support it because it's not going to help anybody.
Yeah, your angle and the argument you make, I think that is a good one. That is a good one. That's something that should be adopted. I agree with you. Thanks for the call, Jordan.
Connect with Dan and Amy using the AM560 mobile app. Download it today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
Hey, mostly cloudy, windy, some midday rain and a thunderstorm, a high of 83 tonight. A severe evening thunderstorm that can bring some high winds. And then tomorrow, variable clouds, breezy, warm, and more humid with a shower or thunderstorm again, a high. Oh, we're inching back up near the 90s. Now let's get into our Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center. Good morning, Jim Talamonte.
Good morning, Amy. Good morning, Dan. Northbound I-65 has delays this morning. It's really heavy. 49th Avenue to 8094. 8094 looks good right now. Eden's inbound, just a little heavy approaching the junction. Kennedy, delays from the River Road Toll to Harlem. 24 minutes, O'Hare to downtown. Outbound 22. Westbound 190 has delays from the Kennedy to Manhunt. About Eisenhower, looking at 45 minutes, Thorndale to downtown. Outbound 33. Northbound I-55 jammed Weber to Lamont Road. A crash on the right side took down a light pole. Stevenson is 52 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive. Outbound 35. Ryan, 27 minutes, 95th to downtown. I-57, 31 minutes, I-80 to the merge, Bishop Ford, 25. And the northbound tri-state's a little heavy from the Reagan toll into North Avenue. Jim Talamonte in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center.
This is Dan Proft with 60 Seconds of Sanity, sponsored by Upstream-Ideas.com. In 2008, Barack Obama scaled Chicago's big government trafficking operation nationally. The nation got only a small taste of the damage Chicago's RICO-style governance inflicts. Illinois has not been so fortunate. The kleptocratic kingpins who run the city that works you over have relegated Illinois to the status of a cautionary tale as to how a poisonous government-centric culture turns the state into one giant Ponzi scheme. Politics pervades everything in Illinois. The result is that the nation's highest combined state and local tax burden has proven no match for the spending appetites of Pauls who've racked up $250 billion in debt while skipping out on more tabs than Leona Helmsley in her heyday. With collapse in the offing, the Sicarios for Illinois' political crime family seek a federal lifeline in the form of state bankruptcy. Congress should consider removing sovereign immunity protections to make an example of those who turned Illinois into the bad example. Of America's 50 laboratories of democracy, Illinois is the meth lab. If we want to prevent more states from getting hooked on junk governance, the Bernie Madoff treatment should be applied to those who cook the books in Illinois.
Ace is the place with the helpful hardware, folks. It's the 4th of July sale at Ace, and it's the perfect time to buy a grill from our exclusive lineup of premium brands, including Weber, Traeger, and more. Plus, Ace has grill experts to make sure you get the right grill, whether you're looking for gas, charcoal, wood pellet, or ceramic. And right now, get the right grill delivered right to your house. Now through the 4th, hurry in and buy any grill $3.99 and up, and we'll assemble and deliver it free. Only at Ace. Offer valid for Ace Rewards members only. See participating store for scheduling and details.
His eyes darted between the blue wire and then the red wire. Back to the blue, back to the red. A bead of sweat dropped from his brow to his hand, which grasped a pair of pliers. He took a deep breath, steadied himself, and cut both with one swift squeeze of his tool. The boy screamed as the doctor pried the braces from his teeth.
If this 20-second performance made you feel something, imagine what an entire Audible book can do. Visit audible.com to start your free 30-day trial.
My name is David Hochberg, Vice President Lending at Pearl Mortgage. If you're purchasing a home, give me a call. A borrower called me after contacting the lender, who boasts about having the lowest rates and closing costs because he thought my competitors' closing costs were excessively high. I compared loan estimates and the interest rates were identical, but our definitions of low closing costs were a lot different. Fact is, my closing costs were over $1,000 less than the lender claiming to have the lowest closing costs. When purchasing a home, you can either work with the lender, who talks and talks and talks and talks about low closing costs, or you can work with me, a lender who actually has low closing costs. Then think of all the things you could do with an extra $1,000 when we originate your loan, like pay for the movers, buy a new computer, new TV, maybe new carpet for your new house. I've helped thousands of AM 560 listeners, but I can't help if you don't call 312-751-1333 or visit am560david.com. Pearl Mortgage, an equal housing lender, Illinois Residential Mortgage Licensee 4358 and MLS 19186.
Finding great candidates to hire can be, well, like trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter is different. It doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them. With its powerful technology, ZipRecruiter distributes your job everywhere it needs to be to find the right candidates. In fact, over 80% of jobs on ZipRecruiter get a qualified candidate in just one day. So, while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, only ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
Used by businesses of all sizes, ZipRecruiter offers the most qualified job candidates with immediate results. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter free. That's right, free. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/work. That's ZipRecruiter.com/work for your free trial. ZipRecruiter.com/work.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest growing independently owned business bank. It's a bank where relationships still matter. Signature Bank knows your name and your story. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
Hi, I'm Dave Geiselhart, president and owner of Home Trust Mortgage and customer of Signature Bank. When the large banks turned away from the mortgage lending industry during the financial crisis, I turned to locally owned Signature Bank. Signature Bank stepped in and helped me expand our business at a time when the larger banks wouldn't. Today, I'm proud to say Home Trust Mortgage has been able to expand our business in Illinois and the Great Lakes region. We couldn't have done that without the help of Signature Bank. Signature Bank truly helps Chicago businesses like mine grow and thrive. That's why we also became personal customers and shareholders of Signature Bank, Chicago's business bank.
Signature Bank is looking for their next success story. Learn more about turning your business vision into reality. Visit signature-bank.com. Signature Bank, helping local businesses succeed. Member FDIC, equal housing lender.
AM 560, The Answer.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Is the real conspiracy not Russiagate, but Intelgate? That's what a former NYU and Princeton professor says, and we'll have it at 6:36.
And ladies and you feminists out there, staying fit for your husband is the best gift you can give him. We'll explain. But first, into the newsroom we go. Here is Mike Scott.
Amy and Dan, good morning. Good morning, everyone. 61 degrees, clouds and sunshine, and maybe some heavy weather on the way for later in the day. The Nissan of St. Charles newsroom. Nissan of St. Charles, home of the Lifetime Advantage warranty. Senators will not vote on the Republican health insurance reform bill before the July 4 recess. Majority Leader Mitch McConnell delaying that vote.
We'll have to sit down with Senator Schumer, and my suspicion is that any negotiation with the Democrats would include none of the reforms that we would like to make, both on the market side and the Medicaid side.
However, he says Democrats will likely not offer any other reforms Republicans want. One Republican senator says he would rather skip a 4th of July recess to work on the health care bill.
I wouldn't go on recess if we haven't come to an agreement. Leader McConnell's goal is to come to agreement within the next 72 hours. I think that's entirely possible.
And
then
if
it's going to take. Then I think we should stay here because we got to keep working on this.
Republican Ron Johnson says Americans have plenty on their minds about health insurance and health care, and they need to hear what they have to say. Danish shipping giant Maersk, hit by a malicious software attack that is crippling computers globally, says it has contained that issue this morning. The Copenhagen-based group says its terminals have been impacted at a number of ports. President Trump officially launching his 2020 re-election campaign tonight with a fundraiser in Washington, D.C. 3 former or current Chicago police officers are accused of taking part in a cover-up to protect the officer who shot and killed Laquan McDonald in 2014. Special Prosecutor Patricia Brown met reporters yesterday announcing an indictment and charging officers Joe Walsh, Thomas Gaffney, and Detective David March with conspiracy, obstruction of justice, and official misconduct.
This indictment alleges that these defendants lied about what occurred during a police-involved shooting in order to prevent independent criminal investigators from learning the truth.
Officer Jason Van Dyke is facing murder charges for the shooting death of the black teen. With just days until the end of the fiscal year, Illinois House Democrats are finally offering up their own budget blueprint. House Republicans and the governor only have a few days to coordinate a deal with House Democrats to stave off even further cuts. Authorities are calling the death of a driver in a deadly crash this week in the River North neighborhood a suicide. Police say Anthony Milder was speeding on Ontario when his car hit a utility pole and burst into flames at Orleans. The collision killed his passenger. Later in the evening, Milder was found dead in his Northwest Side apartment. And a Chicago-based veterans advocacy group 7-year struggle to strike down Indiana's ban on political robocalls has ended after the U.S. Supreme Court declined to review a lower court ruling upholding that law. The Supreme Court on Monday denied patriotic veterans' bid for review of the Seventh Circuit appeal decision from January, upholding the law that prohibits making pre-recorded phone calls to people without their prior consent. Cubs allow 7 stolen bases and a loss to the Nationals 6-1. White Sox rally for a 4-3 win over the Yankees. The news service of Napa Auto Parts this month at participating Napa Auto Parts stores. The easy-to-use AC Pro refrigerant with pressure gauge and quick connect hose is just $33.99. So keep your ride running longer, stronger, and cooler all summer long with AC Pro refrigerant. 6:34 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Dennis Prager believes we live in a world of double standards.
If a fanatical Trump supporter had tried to murder as many Democratic congressmen as possible, you think a Nancy Pelosi would get up there and call for unity? I don't. I think she would have gotten up there and said, this is the hate unleashed by this president.
The Dennis Prager Show, weekdays at 11, right before Sean Hannity at 2 on AM 560. The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Papa Nicholas Coffee. Papa Nicholas Coffee, roasted fresh daily in Batavia, Illinois.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies.
It's absolutely amazing that the combination of these capsules improves your health. It does tell you the value of food and nutrition.
I actually can feel a difference. I really can.
I love the product. It's wonderful. I can't live without it.
It's really helping me. Every time I take it, my body says, thank you.
This is the first winter that I went through that I didn't get a cold.
I love my fruits and veggies. I'm a line dancer, and I just turned 78, and it has made a big difference in my stamina and just my overall well-being, and I have so enjoyed them. I just love taking them and what they do for me.
Take Dr. Howard's Health Challenge and find out how to get 2 free sets of fruits and veggies. We'll even ship them to you free. Call now for details. Call 1-800-2468-751. That's 1-800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com. Use promo code Chicago.
It is 6:36. Let's get an update on the roads this morning. In the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center, here is Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. Northbound I-65 has stop-and-go traffic this morning from 61st Avenue to 8094. It's a pretty big delay. The Borman itself is okay, so is the toll road. Eden's inbound, little congestion approaching the junction. Outbound, it's fine. The Kennedy is inbound delays out of the River Road toll to Lawrence. 25 minutes, so O'Hare to downtown. Outbound 23. Inbound Eisenhower, we had 47 minutes. Thorndale to the post office. Outbound 33. Stevenson, 52 minutes, 3:55 to Lakeshore Drive. Big delay is Weber to Lamont Road with a crash on the right side. Outbound still okay. Ryan, 27 minutes, 95th to downtown. And traffic is a service of Lowe's. Pro customers at Lowe's save 5% on every purchase every day when you use your Lowe's Business Credit Account. That's 5% on all purchases in-store or online. Subject to credit approval, U.S. only. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte. AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the AirComfort.com Weather Center, providing the right climate for business since 1935. Cloudy, windy, some midday rain, and maybe some later-day thunderstorms. High of 83. Severe evening storms could cross the area, damaging winds involved with those storms, and a low of 69. Currently 61. Next news at 7. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Illinois Rising, hosted by Dan Proft and the Illinois Policy Institute. Sunday afternoons at 3 on AM 560, The Answer.
The hypocrites scatter when I shine the bright light of reason. I'm Larry Elder. Join me tonight at 7 right here on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy.
Yes, Dan, I was wondering how your ride to work was today, because yesterday you were pulled over for speeding, and a lot of people were concerned. And I got an email saying, sorry to hear about Dan's problem this morning. You both admitted that you're speeding. Is there a possibility both of you could leave 10 to 15 minutes earlier to drive the speed limit to stay safe?
No.
And to be and have it be safer for people out on the roadways.
I reject the premise. In fact, I'm a very safe driver. Fast is not the same thing as unsafe. In fact, what I would say is the unsafe drivers are those that drive in packs and pace each other and drive in your blind spots and putt along at 57 in the left lane.
The left lane, I always flash my brights like, move it, and then I'll get my hand out and give them the signal to move over.
Yeah, okay. Well,
well,
the hand signal, I'm not sure that's not necessary. But
I have a very long arm.
Yeah,
they
no,
can
it's great.
See me, and
it's
then
great that you're directing traffic while you're driving.
Yeah,
that's
what I do.
No, it's helpful.
But I learned it from you.
So there's no. So I just reject the premise. Okay. The Autobahn is safer than U.S. highways. So it is very little to do with speed. I understand what the law is. You know, you got me speeding. You got me. Okay.
Well, it could be a misdemeanor.
Although
could you go to jail, or what's going on?
I am going to turn myself into Cook County Jail, do a year just for the stories, so that I can share them on the show. No, we've conferred with counsel. Think we've got a pretty good defense.
Oh, okay. I can't wait to hear this.
So on my driver's license, it lists my weight as 175 pounds. So what the defense is going to be, clearly I was not driving the car.
Oh.
It's the R. Kelly defense.
That's right.
I'm not. That can't be me.
It wasn't me.
Wasn't me.
It wasn't me. Shag. Yeah. Shaggy. Okay, was it you? Then who was it?
Hey.
That's not your problem?
Reasonable doubt.
Because you're $3 Well, I think you've slimmed down to 250.
Reasonable doubt.
Yeah.
175 pounds. Your Honor. Please.
But it comes with a hefty bond. I mean, what was bond 2,000 or something?
bond was my license. It was
Okay.
my bond. So, ratchet down your hysterics. As much as you want to send me off to the Huskow.
No.
I
my
hate
kids,
to break it to you.
No, my kids were fascinated. Could he go to jail? Is this a felony or a misdemeanor? I said, no, it's a misdemeanor. But sometimes if you're speeding if you're going 120, then it could become a felony.
It's nothing until it's adjudicated.
Oh, okay.
So why don't you just holster your pre-crime report until, we
It's
engage.
like when people go I almost got arrested once, and the kids were so excited. Oh, you're going to arrest my mom? This is awesome. That's what they told the police officer. Because remember when I got hit by the buddy scooter?
What was the
and I
nature
left
of your
the scene?
crime?
I backed up into a buddy scooter,
Yeah.
And then I went to the police station. And they're like, you better get back to the scene because you'll be arrested if you don't get back to the scene. You
for
can't leave
leaving
the scene of a
an
crime.
accident, especially when a guy is bleeding on the street.
Well,
that
with the
you hit.
Lululemon bag.
Yeah, right.
No, he wasn't bleeding.
I'm kidding.
His ego was hurt.
Okay, on to some more serious matters that have
Yes.
to do with Western civilization, not my excellent driving. And by the way, when you're driving the Tide car to work, you have to drive fast.
The what car?
The Tide car.
Oh, okay.
I'm Jeff Gordoning it to work.
That's right.
So here's the question. It's particularly against the backdrop of this WannaCry malware attack yesterday, cyber attack. Is the real story about the election and everything since, quote-unquote, Russiagate, is the real story instead Intelgate and what is going on in the intelligence community in this country and how that spills over into law enforcement. Holman Jenkins had a good piece in the Wall Street Journal. Expect a cover-up. Moscow intervened in the election 8 ways from Sunday, but it's clearer than ever that what's occupied Americans for the past 6 months are baseless accusations about the Trump campaign. And he goes on to detail what we've detailed on the show. I mean, in terms of the focus on an investigation where there's no evidence, rather than considering the following. If Comey had followed established practice of not announcing the clearing of Hillary Clinton, the Hillary Clinton investigation would have been closed without announcement, or the conflicted Miss Lynch or an underling would have cleared Mrs. Clinton. How would this have played with voters and the media? Would the investigations reopening in the race's final days, with the discovery of the Wiener laptop, have taken place? Would the reopening have become public knowledge? The noisy, obnoxious ways Russia meddled amounted to nothing, right? We know from both administrations, didn't affect a single vote.
Well, they didn't get into the ballot boxes. Or, if people voted electronically, they didn't mess with that.
So the noisy, obnoxious ways Russia meddled amounted to nothing. The public was able to discount them. It was only through a bumptious act of our own law enforcement community, in a way the public didn't know at the time, that they may have been influenced by planted Russian intelligence. This is the Comey email, or the email that Comey got which was propaganda that Lynch was going to clear Hillary, prompting him to make his public announcement. So it was only through a bumptious act of our own law enforcement community, in a way the public didn't know at the time, may have been influenced by planted Russian intelligence, that the Kremlin really may have affected an extraordinarily close race in the Electoral College. And the point that this sets up the point that Jenkins makes: expect a cover-up. The truth is absolutely unacceptable to the establishment that Special Counsel Robert Mueller represents. There's no appetite for truth among Democrats. They cling to Comey's legal exoneration of Clinton. There's no appetite among Republicans. Comey, Mueller are Republicans, promoted their careers by Republican presidents. There's no appetite in the Trump White House, which doesn't want its win tainted in history by a Russian dirty trick. There is no appetite in the Kremlin. Putin knows that relations with the American superpower are slipping toward an all-out hostility he can't afford. In the U.S., to acknowledge the truth would be to complete the task Russia set itself in, discrediting the U.S. leadership class. A cover-up is the only way to go. It's an interesting theory that no one in the ruling class, including now the Trump White House, is really interested in getting to the truth of the matter. They're interested in clinging to their competing narratives to protect their particular interests. And that leads to an interesting interview by Professor Stephen F. Cohen, who's a Russian studies professor at NYU and Princeton. He was interviewed by one of those guys at Young Turks, this online news outlet of sorts. But Stephen F. Cohen's academic credentials are pretty impeccable. And here's what he has to say on Russiagate versus what he terms Intelgate.
What Clapper said about Russians, that they're genetically disposed to do us in and be evildoers, is, of course, a form, I guess, of racism. I mean, like saying, you know, Jews are genetically disposed to cheat you financially, and blacks are this, and the Irish are that. This is something that we wouldn't tolerate, and nobody protested. I think he said it on NBC or someplace.
He said it on Meet the Press. So he said it on the
Press.
flagship television show that the establishment kind of organized themselves around.
And by the way, he had said it in Australia 2 days before. That's where I first heard him say it. So it wasn't an accident. But let's step back a minute. And you're right. Well, I don't want to put words in your mouth. I think that there has been an intelligence operation run against Trump surreptitiously, going back at least since early 2016. And that I would call it Intelgate. And it's that, not Russiagate, that really rivals Watergate and needs to be investigated. What these intelligence services have been doing, in addition to breaking the law, with this pattern of secret surveillance and leaking to the press for months and months.
What both Jenkins and Professor Cohen are getting to is what really you have here is particular interests with particular stories they want told and stories they don't want told, competing for hegemony in the federal government in this $4 trillion enterprise with a monopoly of force in society that we call the federal government. And that should be the real concern, particularly when it comes to the idea of intelligence agencies whose primary responsibility is national security, law enforcement agents whose primary responsibility is enforcement of the rule of law. And what are they doing instead? They're playing political king of the hill. That's what he's saying. And he's saying this specifically about what he's heard from not just and also creating boogeymen, right? I mean, not that Russia is a friend and not that Russia isn't a threat, because it's not a friend and it is a threat. But his reference to how Clapper characterizes the Russians, genetically predisposed to do this and that, it is a certain paranoia that they want to extend as a way to defend what they do and what they did and ratchet up and essentially maintain the momentum for a look at anything resembling an interaction between the Trump administration or surrogates and Russians. And so Cohen goes on to make this point with respect to what former CIA Director Brennan said about any American who has any Russian contact. Listen to this.
We know that Clapper is a Russophobe. He thinks that they are genetically evil people. But look what Brennan said in his testimony. He was the director of the CIA. He said something absolutely astonishing, but it's good we now know it. He said, and I can't quote him exactly, but I do not misparaphrase him. He said that Americans who have contacts with Russians have a risk of heading down a treasonous path that they are not aware of until they commit treason. Stop and think about that. This is a guy who was downright paranoid about unofficial contacts with Russia. Now, he might have told me 50 years ago when I started my career, because I've had, scores, hundreds of contacts with Russians over my life of all kind. That's what I do. I try to make contact with knowledgeable Russians, and sometimes just with Russians who are a lot of fun. But imagine saying that. That was the director of the CIA. And then we have Comey's astonishing testimony where he comes forward and says he's a great authority on Russia and he knows they hacked this, he knows they'll be back. But then he admits he's been one of the leakers. So we have these three top intelligence guys essentially outing themselves. And the strange thing is nobody pays a mind to what they said, except to a certain extent Comey's leaking. But that was okay because it was against Trump.
I think Cohen makes excellent points about Comey, Brennan, and Clapper, and about what's really going on. And it's essentially in a roundabout way, the same thing as Holman Jenkins is contending, expect a cover-up.
It's news, opinion, insight. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Coming up next, the reason to fall in love with Governor Rick Perry all over again. Oh, but first, here's your forecast today. Cloudy, windy, some midday rain and a thunderstorm in this afternoon. It arrives this afternoon. It's going to stick around for a while, a high of 83 degrees. A severe evening thunderstorm then will follow. And then tomorrow, clouds, breezy, warm, humid, and a shower or thunderstorm likely, a high of 86 degrees. Let's get into our Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center and say good morning once again to Jim Talamonte.
Good morning, Amy. Good morning, Dan. Northbound I-65, it's stop and go. 61st Avenue to 8094. 8094 itself looks okay. The Edens, 24 minutes, Lake Cook to Montrose, outbound 22. The Kennedy, 32 minutes, O'Hare to downtown, outbound 28. Westbound 190 is heavy. The Kennedy to Manheim. The Eisenhower is 48 minutes, Thorndale to downtown, outbound 33. Northbound I-55, heavy, Veterans Parkway to Lamont Road. There's a crash on the right side. And the Stevenson is 55 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive. The Ryan, looking at 27 minutes, 95th to downtown. I-57, 31 minutes, I-80 to the Merge, Bishop 425. Tri-State southbound, see roadwork delays from the Stevenson to 75th. The left lane is closed. I'm Jim Talamonte in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center.
I'm Lou Dobbs. Facebook now has more than 2 billion users a month, and drug maker Merck says it's been hacked all around the world. Those stories next.
Have you racked up more than $10,000 in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? You should know the credit card companies are tricking you into thinking there's no way out. Credit card companies would rather you didn't know that there are ways you can become debt-free and you don't have to pay the entire amount you owe. There are debt relief programs that help people like you escape overwhelming credit card debt. National Debt Relief has helped tens of thousands of people just like you reduce more than $500 million of debt. National Debt Relief has helped so many people. They're A-plus rated by the Better Business Bureau. You don't have to declare bankruptcy or take out a consolidation loan. You have the right to settle your debt for a mere fraction of what you owe. Reduce a portion of your debt now. Call National Debt Relief at 800-975-5115. 800-975-5115. That's 800-975-5115.
The nation's second largest drug maker says it's a victim of a cyber attack. Merck confirming that its computer network was subjected to a global attack at its worldwide locations, including one in the Ukraine. Merck is one of a number of companies subjected to new malicious malware scrambling company data. Facebook says it's passed the 2 billion user a month mark. Its user base is larger than the population of any single country on the planet. But that isn't the only Facebook news. The site also says it's deleted more than 66,000 posts as it cracks down on what it calls hate speech. Economic reports today include an update on mortgage applications, the balance of international trade, and figures on pending home sales. Please join me for Lou Dobbs tonight, 7 and 11 Eastern on the Fox Business Network. This is the Lou Dobbs Financial Report.
All right. How would you like to have insurance for your computer network? Something to protect your hardware, software, and give you peace of mind. Well, using Turnkey IT for installation and support of your systems is like having insurance for your computer network. For one affordable monthly payment, you can get a full team of certified technicians who are there for you. They work in the background. They make sure your systems are up and running. They'll walk you through it over the phone and make house calls to your workplace if necessary. And they don't wait until there's an emergency call. They work hard to take preventative measures to keep your network secure, backed up and running nonstop. Turnkey IT can protect your network with the Turnkey Experience. This is where you get Office 365 hosting, advanced network protection, cloud backup, disaster recovery, and unlimited remote and on-site support. So find out what Turnkey IT can do for your company. It's easy. Visit turnkey.pro. That's turnkey.pro.
You all know America's Bar and Grill in Hoffman Estates has the best Tuesday night trivia in the Northwest Burbs, right?
Woo!
Yes! Good. But did you know every time you play and win at America's Bar and Grill, you and all your trivia teammates are qualified to win tickets aboard their 8th annual party bus to a Cubs game?
That's right, baby. VIP.
Plus, all trivia players receive 30% off their food orders. Now, just for listening to AM 560 The Answer, they're offering you a chance to qualify to win 2 tickets aboard the America's Bar party bus to a Cubs game. Just answer this simple trivia question. What movie is this quote from? You're killing me, Smalls. Post your answer on the America's Bar and Grill Facebook page, and you're entered to win. It's that easy. For more info about America's Bar and Grill, visit americasbar.com or on Facebook at America's Bar and Grill. America's Bar and Grill, they have it all. Sports, indoor bags, pool tables, darts, dancing, and Trivia Tuesdays.
You need to switch your cell phone service to Patriot Mobile. Patriot Mobile was founded to support conservative causes while providing the same great nationwide cell phone coverage that you're already used to enjoying. Patriot Mobile allows you to donate up to 5% of your monthly bill to the conservative organization of your choice at no extra cost to you. Do what I'm doing. Do like me. Switch to Patriot Mobile and support the conservative agenda. Switch today and get a free iPhone with a $50 unlimited talk, text, and data plan, or a free Galaxy phone with a $45 unlimited talk, text, and data plan. They will also buy out your current contract up to $500 per line. There's no catch. Call 800-A-PATRIOT, and Patriot Mobile will even waive your activation fee with promo code Joe. Or go to patriotmobile.com/Joe.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies.
When I heard of Balance of Nature, and I said, because I had prayed, Lord, how am I going to get all this food into me that's so good to me? That's when I called. Now I know that I get my fruits and my vegetables into me, and I don't have to work so hard. I know that I am getting the proper things into my body. I do believe that if I didn't have this already in my body, my Balance of Nature, it wouldn't have gone so good for me. But because my body was healthy, that's what kept me going.
Take Dr. Howard's Health Challenge and find out how to get 2 free sets of fruits and veggies. We'll even ship them to you free. Call 1-800-2468-751. That's 1-800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com. Use promo code Chicago.
AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy, drones are all the rage now, and so you'll soon see a 6.5-pound phallus in drone form in a neighborhood near you. It's called the Wiener drone. Flight time around 15 minutes and can fly about a mile before needing to land for a recharge. It can drop a single hot dog on someone, so you can deliver a hot dog from a mile away. Now, if you want all the fixins, Chicago style,
it's going to get ugly.
It may not have that kind of distance.
Well, mustard stains your clothes. You're not going to want that.
Well, yeah, ideally it'd be wrapped.
Oh, okay. Well, still, but something could go wrong, Dan, and it could come out of the wrapping and make your life miserable. I don't really need a hot dog falling from the sky. I'm not that hungry. Isn't that just going to make Americans fatter?
Well, it's interesting. I just Wiener drone, although just in a sort
of. Do you have a picture of it?
Yeah, right here. See, look at it up in the air. It's not
it's
a bird.
Flying Oscar
it's not
Mayer.
A plane.
What about the Oscar Mobile? Is that still going to be up and running? In the summertime?
Yeah, they're taking America by land and by sea and by air. So the interesting thing, though, kind of ironic twist, Wiener drone, also the name of Huma Abedin's forthcoming memoir.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
This Wiener drone is going to be grounded for sending tweets to underage girls.
Oh, we stop it. Oh, it'll be looking for underage girls. Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
In staying on the theme of irony, CNN exposed by actual journalism. 7:07.
But first, into the newsroom we go. Here's Mike Scott.
I think our friend Paul Ryan once drove that Wiener mobile, if I'm not mistaken. 5 wounded in a West Side shooting. We'll have details on that developing story for you. And Democrats unveil their budget. WIND, Chicago News Times, 7 o'clock.
It's a victory for Democrats. For now, I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News.
The ultimate reason this bill failed is because the American people just didn't like it.
Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer, after Republicans delayed their plan to replace Obamacare until after the July 4th break with 9 GOP senators opposed.
It's a big, complicated subject. We've got a lot of discussions going on, and we're still optimistic we're going to get there.
Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, President Trump is still hopeful. Fox's Rachel Sutherland live in Washington.
Dave, after an East Room meeting with Republican senators, the president expressed optimism for the Senate bill, saying Obamacare is melting down.
We have really no choice but to solve this situation. Obamacare is a total disaster.
President Trump denies he's been on the sidelines of health care negotiations, railing against what he calls the fake news media. Tweeting this morning, "I know the subject well and want victory for the U.S." The New York Times cited an unnamed senator as saying the president appeared not to have a basic grasp of the Senate plan. Dave.
Rachel, 3 Chicago police officers have been indicted for conspiracy, obstruction, and misconduct, accused of lying to help shield a white police officer who was accused of shooting and killing a black teenager in 2014. That officer is now awaiting a murder trial. A sheriff's deputy was shot in the face last night at a rail station in Sacramento. He's stable after surgery. The suspect was found hiding in a hotel. 2 railroad workers are dead, hit by an Amtrak train while they were on the tracks late last night in Washington, D.C.
The train was only about 3 minutes away from Union Station. People say they felt a bump, and then the train came to a screeching halt, and they really didn't know what was going on for quite some time.
Melanie Alnwick with Fox 5 TV had shut down Amtrak service this morning between D.C. and Philadelphia. An attack in Venezuela, shots fired from a helicopter. At the Supreme Court and a ministry building, then a man claiming to be a police pilot put out a video calling for a rebellion. President Maduro called it a terror attack, but some Maduro opponents claim he orchestrated it to justify a crackdown on anti-government protests. Fox News, fair and balanced.
Clouds and sun, 61 degrees. At 7:02 on AM 560, The Answer. Good morning, I'm Mike Scott. In your Nissan of St. Charles newsroom, Nissan of St. Charles, home of the Lifetime Advantage warranty. With just days until the end of the fiscal year, Illinois House Democrats are offering up their own budget blueprint, challenging House Republicans to convince Governor Rauner to compromise. Eyes are on Springfield this morning with AM 560's David Stewart.
The $36 billion House spending plan isn't much different from the governor's, and Speaker Michael Madigan says their revenue ideas will mirror the Senate Democrats, namely higher income and corporate taxes. Madigan says Democrats have also addressed Rauner's non-budget priorities, like pension and workers' comp reform and a property tax freeze. So it's time for compromise.
This is a governmental negotiation, and I think you all know that in governmental negotiation, like negotiation in most other areas, nobody gets 100%.
The state is facing a Friday deadline to reach a budget deal or lose access to federal highway funds. David Stewart, NBC News Radio, Chicago.
5 are wounded following a shooting on Chicago's west side. All 5 shot last night are Lotus and Adams, one a 17-year-old boy. All remain hospitalized. A truck driver is dead following a crash in Hampshire. Fernando Pena driving when he lost control and slammed into the median on I-90. Pena was thrown from the truck. State police say he died later in a nearby hospital. The city's Inspector General Joe Ferguson calling for Mayor Emanuel to stick to his original plan and seek federal court oversight of his police reform measures. Store owners across the state are joining with those in Cook County to ask a judge to stop or at least slow down Cook County's new soda tax. The Illinois Retail Merchants Association will be in a Cook County courtroom later today. Cubs make an informal visit to the White House later today as manager Joe Maddon says the trip isn't mandatory, although many players will attend. Cubs allow 7 stolen bases in a 6-1 loss to the Nationals. Jose Abreu, the 2-out 2-run single in the bottom of the ninth, helping the White Sox rally to a 4-3 win over the Yankees. Florida wins the College World Series, beating LSU last night. The news service of Napa Auto Parts this month. At participating Napa Auto Parts stores, the rugged Bluetooth speaker with 20-hour battery life is just $29.99. That's right. Now you can have the freedom to play music wherever you please for just $29.99 while supplies last. 7:04, time to check the climate of your business with aircomfort.com, providing the right climate for business since 1935. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Finding great candidates to hire can be, well, like trying to find a needle in a haystack.
Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter is different. It doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them. With its powerful technology, ZipRecruiter distributes your job everywhere it needs to be to find the right candidates. In fact, over 80% of jobs on ZipRecruiter get a qualified candidate in just one day. So, while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, only ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
Used by businesses of all sizes, ZipRecruiter offers the most qualified job candidates with immediate results. And right now you can try ZipRecruiter free. That's right, free. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/work. That's ZipRecruiter.com/work for your free trial. ZipRecruiter.com/work.
I'm Nick Soboleski, a Select Quote agent with a true story that could save you hundreds of dollars a year. A woman named Linda just called. Her husband, Ray, has a $300,000 group life insurance policy, but is changing jobs and can't take it with him. Well, I impartially shopped the highly rated term life insurance companies we represent and found Ray, who is 41 and takes medication to control his cholesterol, a 10-year, $500,000 policy for under $26 a month. That's almost twice the coverage for less than half of what he had paid. If SelectQuote hasn't shopped for your life insurance, you're probably paying too much.
For your free quote, call 1-800-348-2121. That's 1-800-348-2121. 1-800-348-2121. Or go to SelectQuote.com. We shop, you save. Get full details on the example policy at SelectQuote.com/commercials. Your price can vary depending on your health, issuing company, and other factors. Not available in all states.
7:06. Let's check the roads in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center with Jim.
Thanks, Mike. The Edens Expressway inbound is heavy from Devon to the junction. 22 minutes Lake Cook to Montrose, outbound 23. Inbound Kennedy, 35 minutes. O'Hare to downtown, 17 from Montrose, 15 of the Express. Outbound, 15 minutes to Montrose, 30 to O'Hare. Westbound 190 has delays from the Kennedy to Manheim. Inbound Eisenhower, 52 minutes. Thorndale to the post office, 39 from Manheim. Outbound 36 to Thorndale. Northbound I-55, stop and go. Veterans Parkway to Lamont Road. There's a crash on the right side and down a pole as well. 55 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive. Outbound 42. And on Ryan, 27 minutes, 95th to downtown. Tri-state delays. Southbound from the Stevenson to 75th. Road work in the left lane. Northbound from 95th to the Hinsdale Oasis and from the Reagan Tollway to North Avenue. Reagan Tollway heavy 22nd to the Tri-State. Veterans Memorial. Butterfield to Roosevelt and Army Trail to 290. Northbound I-65 at slow 61st Avenue to 8094. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560. The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the AirComfort.com Weather Center with our meteorologist, Kevin Snyder.
Today, wind gusts up to 30 miles per hour with occasional rain and a thunderstorm. During the midday, high 83. Severe evening thunderstorm watch for flash flooding and damaging winds will have a low tonight of 69. I'm Kevin Snyder on AM 560. The Answer.
64 at O'Hare. Next news at 7:30. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560. The Answer.
This hourly segment is powered by CharlesEquipment.com. Weathering every storm and keeping the lights on.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. Well, CNN is sticking to their story. I'm looking at the Chiron right now. Trump White House intensifies war with media. Trump White House intensifies war with media. So let me understand this. Unverified stories that are retracted. New York Times, defamatory comments against Sarah Palin that are corrected. But it is Trump who is solely inciting or inflaming a quote-unquote war with the media. Is that accurate? 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line. 64636DA, turnkey.pro text line. Before we get
he tweeted an hour ago, some of the fake news media likes to say that I'm not totally engaged in healthcare. Wrong. I know the subject well and want victory for U.S.
Well, but before we get to the Project Veritas undercover op, with a CNN supervisory producer who has a lot to say about the media, and CNN specifically. This exchange yesterday that set off a number of reporters, including Jim Acosta, CNN. This is between Sarah Huckabee Sanders, a White House spokeswoman, and Brian Karem, who's the executive editor of the Montgomery County Sentinel in Maryland. Listen to this exchange, because it's all about the war with the media and who's honest and who isn't.
News outlets get to go on day after day and cite unnamed sources, use stories without sources, have, you mentioned the Scaramucci story where they had to have reporters resign.
Come on, you're inflaming everybody right here and right now with those words. This administration has done that as well. Why in the name of heavens? Any one of us, right, are replaceable, and any one of us, if we don't get it right, the audience has the opportunity to turn the channel or not read us. I think you have been elected to serve for 4 years at least. There's no option other than that. We're here to ask you questions. Right. We're here to provide the answers. And what you just did is inflammatory to people all over the country who look at it and say, see, once again, the president is right and everybody else out here is fake media. And everybody in this room is only trying to do their job.
Well, I disagree completely. First of all, I think if anything has been inflamed, it's the dishonesty that often takes place by the news media. And I think it is outrageous for you to accuse me of inflaming a story when I was simply trying to respond to his question.
What was the question?
The question was about...
I watched that yesterday and I went...
Yeah, the question was about the CNN retraction and the three individuals leaving, and then the undercover video that James O'Keefe over at Project Veritas obtained. Jim Acosta tweeted yesterday after that exchange you just heard. Mm-hmm. Jim Acosta, CNN.
Used to work here at BBM.
Does this feel like America, where the White House takes questions from conservatives, then openly trashes the news media in the briefing room? Does it feel like America? Well, I would ask Mr. Acosta, does this feel like a legitimate newsroom?
Because he works for CNN, in case people don't know that.
Correct. And here's the Project Veritas undercover video, James O'Keefe, guerrilla journalist, with somebody he got inside CNN and struck up at least a friendship or professional relationship that was cozy enough to get 15-year CNN employee and current supervisory producer.
Well, they say he's a medical producer.
He's a supervisory producer. Okay. Fine, whatever. That's his supervising producer is his title, John Bonifield. And he has a lot to say about the culture at CNN and specific meetings he was in about political coverage where CNN boss Jeff Zucker was directing the conversation. So
and Jeff Zucker, just in case you don't know, used to be the president of news at NBC.
Yeah, right. It's all very incestuous.
Mm-hmm.
Bonifield on ratings versus truth.
So you believe like the Russia thing's a little crazy, right?
Even if Russia was trying to swing an election, we try to swing their elections. We're in our CIA and doing shit all the time. Like, we're out there trying to manipulate governments. Like, you win because you know the game and you play it right. She didn't play it right.
Then why is CNN constantly like Russia this, Russia that?
Because it's ratings.
Because it's ratings?
Our ratings are incredible right now.
Because it's ratings. Journalistic ethics, you ask? The number of sources that need to be assembled in order to run with a story, for example, those kind of standards of journalism. Well, Bonifield has a reply for you on that topic.
I mean, I understand it's all ratings, right?
Oh, it's a business. It's a business. People are like, the media has like an ethical... But all the nice, cutesy little ethics that used to get talked about in journalism school, you're just like, that's adorable. That's adorable. Yeah, this is a business. Especially cable news, you know. Cable news isn't the New York Times, and it's not even like NBC News. It's I mean, NBC News still gets 20 million viewers a night. Cable news is getting 1 million. So, like they gotta do what they gotta do to make their money, I think.
So cable news is the World Wrestling of television news, and
right.
that's okay.
It's because you got to feed the beast 24/7. There's always the next show. You got to get producers on. You got to get talking heads. What's the flashy breaking news story. But what makes me sick is that this person, this medical producer supervisor, he's still on at the job, and CNN defended him. They say we stand by our medical producer John Bonfield. Diversity of personal opinion is what makes CNN strong. We welcome it and embrace it. I mean, saying that the facts aren't paramount and that, ethics is it's a cutesy little thing you learn in journalism school.
Yeah, because
people's lives are on the line because people listen to CNN and trust them. I mean, some people do. I know our listening audience doesn't, but still, they have a great responsibility as journalists and anchors and producers, and he just seems to see poo-poo, whatever makes us money.
Well,
They'll destroy anybody for revenue.
It's not his fault. What he's describing is the culture at CNN.
And that's what I'm talking about, the culture, because they'll destroy anybody to make a buck.
And they're defending him because what he's saying is accurate. What are they going to say?
I'm shocked. I would say he's taking some time off to be with his family or maybe start a family, and he's going to be put in a different position or kick him out.
Kick him out for what? For describing what they actually do? Bonifield goes on to reflect upon how things would be, his audience, CNN's audience, would react if the same scrutiny they're applying to Trump had been applied to Obama.
Oh, this is good.
I think that there are a lot of liberal CNN viewers who want to see Trump really get scrutinized, and I think if we would have behaved that way with President Obama and scrutinized everything that he was doing with as much scrutiny as we applied to Donald Trump, I think our viewers would have been turned off. I think they would have thought like we were attacking him. But I think our viewers right now, and I'm not saying all of our viewers are super liberals. Right. I think there's just a lot of them. And
so Trump's good for business, you're saying?
Trump is good for business right now.
It's good for business.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's all about making money.
So we're going to tell this story whether the facts line up to support it or not in many instances. And again, this Scaramucci story.
You mean Anthony Scaramucci?
Thank you. This is not the first time they had to retract a story. They had to retract a story on Comey, too. Yep. By the way, one of those that departed after the retraction of the Scaramucci story.
Scaramucci.
Thank you. Pulitzer Prize winner. How about that? Ideology trumping journalistic ethics. That's what's happening. We're going to tell our story. And Bonifield, in a moment of candor, suggests that the president has a point about this whole Russian focus.
Honestly, you think the whole Russia is just bullshit?
Could be bullshit. I mean, it's mostly bullshit right now. We don't have any big giant proof. But then they say, well, there's still an investigation going on. And you're like, yeah. I don't know. If you were finding something, we'd know about it. The way these leaks happen, they'd leak it. It'd leak. If there was something really good, it would leak.
Yeah. It would have leaked before voting, I would say. If anything was good out there, it would have came out already.
Yeah, the leaks keep leaking, and there's so many great leaks, and it's amazing, and I just refuse to believe that if they had something really good like that wouldn't leak, because we've been getting all these other leaks. So I just feel like they don't really have it, but they want to keep digging.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think the president is probably right to say, look, you are witch hunting me.
The president is right to say, look, you are witch hunting me.
That speaks volumes.
I'll tell you.
He's not as crazy as people think that he is.
Well, I mean,
he knew.
Look at what's been produced. Forget even what the president has to say about it. Just look at what has been produced and what has been reported. Nothing in terms of substantive evidence to support the narrative that the D.C. press corps wants to tell about Russian hacking the election. I mean, the collusion aspect of it. Trump in bed with the Russians is the real point. And so I mean, as somebody who was in a newsroom at the advent of television, I mean,
my God. Well, I did start when we had typewriters, and then we had to run our own teleprompters.
Right.
And we used whiteout. Oh, my gosh.
You and Ron Majors were the original Woodward and Bernstein. So how do you react to this? Is this what you suspected to be true, or are you aghast at these revelations?
I'm aghast at the fact that he said, those cute little facts and the ethics that you learn in journalism, that took it a little too far for me. I didn't expect that. I did expect that there was some just advancing their agenda with the Russian hacking, because they mentioned Russia hacking, 16,000 times in the period from when he was elected to right now. Because that's all they talk about. They even, Veritas, James O'Keefe said one time, because I watched the whole video, that they spent an entire 24-hour cycle promoting this Russian hacking.
Well, and by the way, I mean, the leftists that control news organizations and Chicago Press Corps, the docile Chicago Press Corps, are they any different? Do they push their narratives? Do they protect their sacred cows? Of course they do.
I know the two reporters at NBC, I'm not going to say their names, got in trouble when
Carol
Obama...
Marie.
No, not her. When Obamacare came out, because they were doing, this is the greatest thing since sliced bread, and a producer went up to them and said, no, this isn't, there's another side to this story, and I need you to report on it. And one pushed back and said, no, because this is the best thing. We've been pushing for this.
Right.
And
that
eventually she had to get an opposing view.
Yeah.
And how Obamacare was hurting one family in Chicago.
And that producer went missing, and he was never heard from again. George in Libertyville, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Good morning, guys. I mean, first off, I think anybody that on Facebook that's been pushing this Russian thing should have to just put a big L on their forehead now for like a week. But secondly, at what point does CNN get kicked out of, mainstream go-to media? I mean, they're like a People magazine of the news now. Why would they even be allowed to answer or ask a question in any presser at the White House going forward? I mean, it's a complete joke. How do they get, how do they get downgraded?
The more you listen, the more you'll know. This is Chicago's Morning Answer. Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Today, cloudy, windy, and some rain is going to be moving in here midday, and some thunderstorms, a high of 83. Tonight, a severe evening thunderstorm that can bring some flooding and damaging winds. And then tomorrow, some clouds, warm, breezy, really humid, and a shower or thunderstorm likely in spots, a high of 86 degrees. Let's get into our Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center and to the big boss, Jim Talamonte.
Good morning, Amy. Good morning, Dan. Southbound 53 on the ramp to the eastbound Adams Tollway I-90. There's a crash on that ramp. Prepare to slow down there. Northbound I-65. Got delays. 61st Avenue to 8094. The Aiden's inbound, looking at just 21 minutes. Lake Cook to Montrose. Outbound 24. The Kennedy, 35 minutes. O'Hare to downtown. Outbound 30. Inbound Eisenhower, 52 minutes. Thorndale to the post office. Outbound 36. Stevenson, 55 minutes. 3:55 to the drive. Outbound 42. Ryan, 27 minutes. 95th to downtown. Tri-State southbound. Stop and go from the Stevenson to 75th. Roadwork in the left lane. The northbound delays from 95th to the Hinsdale Oasis and from the Reagan to Winter North Avenue. I'm Jim Talamonte in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center.
What's the scariest thing about going to the dentist? Opening your mouth or opening your wallet? Because just a simple cleaning can cost $100, and things like root canals can cost you hundreds more. If you don't have dental insurance to help, you should give Physicians Mutual Insurance Company a call. 1-800-300-8038. This isn't a discount plan or preventive-only coverage. This is real dental insurance that helps pay for checkups right away, so you can call today and get your teeth cleaned tomorrow. Plus, it helps cover the more expensive procedures you might need down the road. Fillings, crowns, bridges, even costly dentures. There's no deductible and no annual maximum. Your acceptance is guaranteed for one of these insurance policies, even if you're retired or on Medicare. There are no networks, so you can choose any dentist you'd like. That's right, any dentist you want. Call and we'll rush you a free information kit with all the details. 1-800-300-8038. That's 1-800-300-8038. 1-800-300-8038.
Hey, it's Steve. I can't come to the phone right now because I'm protesting the high price of my mobile plan. Metro PCS must think I'm an ATM, but I'm not. Do I look like an ATM? More like Steve TM.
Switch to Boost and get 2 lines with 3 gigs of 4G LTE data per line for only $50. With Metro PCS, you only get 2 gigs per line for that same price. Plus, get up to 2 free LG X-Power phones. All powered by the fast and reliable Sprint nationwide network. Boost is the best value in wireless among national prepaid carriers. Visit a Boost mobile store today. Boost makes it easy to switch. Switching makes it easy to save.
Offer ends 7/10/17. Primary line is $50 with second line $0 per month. Requires 1 line to port in. Lines include unlimited talk, text, and data. Once high-speed data allotment reached, speeds reduced to 2G speeds until next plan cycle. Comparison based on Metro PCS's 2 GB promo plan as of 6/12/17. Free phone requires port in and activation on $50 plans. Select models only while supplies last. Coverage and offers not available everywhere. Restrictions apply. See participating dealer for details.
Why choose Taboda and Associates to handle your retirement? Well, because we provide objective advice and concierge service, investments, insurance, retirement planning, all at one location. We also partner with qualified attorneys and CPAs to provide complete financial strategies for our clients. We use a variety of investment and insurance products to custom design retirement plans that can give clients a clear look at their future. We help you stay on the path toward financial independence. If you don't want to do it yourself and you want to work with a team to create a financial strategy for your future, give us a call. 630-777-7955. That's 630-777-7955. Would you rather get retirement advice from some TV show host who doesn't know anything about you, or Taboda and Associates? 630-777-7955. Taboda and Associates is a registered investment advisory firm. Jack Taboda is an investment advisor representative and insurance professional. Investing involves risk, including the possible loss of principal. Investment advisory services offered through AE Wealth Management, LLC.
Do you know that the time your children spend in school for 1 year is as much time as they will spend in church in over 5 years? Why would we want our children to be in a school that denies God and His truth? Christian Liberty Academy was founded in 1968 to provide a place that would affirm and strengthen what our children learn at home and in their churches. We have a great location in Arlington Heights, outstanding faculty and facilities, a strong biblical worldview emphasis, and an affordable tuition price compared to similar schools. We provide a comprehensive and accredited curriculum that will prepare your child for college and beyond. From preschool all the way through 12th grade, discover the positive difference that Christian Liberty Academy can make in their education and life. Schedule a personal tour today and get more information at ChristianLibertyAcademy.com or call 847-385-2013.
When a local manufacturer suffered an employee accident at their factory, McPherson Public Affairs Group was called in to handle crisis communications with the media, the general public, and the manufacturer's employees. When a local unit of government needed assistance in pushing a significant regional highway issue forward, McPherson Public Affairs Group was called in to manage the public, media, and legislative outreach campaign. When national trade associations and corporations need public outreach and communications campaigns in Illinois and throughout the Midwest, they count on McPherson Public Affairs Group to get the job done. McPherson Public Affairs Group is a full-service public affairs and public relations firm based in LaGrange, Illinois. They'll work with you to create a strategy and see it through. Contact them for a free consultation when you face public relations challenges or need media and spokesperson training for your executive team. 312-882-2473 or on the web at McPhersonPublicAffairs.com.
AM 560, The Answer.
Did you watch it? Secretary of Energy Rick Perry was in the White House briefing room yesterday. He didn't want to let go, too. He was having so much fun up there. He was full of energy. He was affable. Reporters loved him. If you read their tweets, I know Jim Acosta, who you just talked about, said that what America are we living in?
Yeah.
Jim Acosta tweeted, personal opinion here, Rick Perry should always be on camera.
I think Jim Acosta has a bigger crush on him than you do.
You know what? Because then he tweeted later on, my briefing room buddy Goyle tells Perry he has a lot of energy. Perry responds, I come from a place with a lot of energy. Next question. I thought he was very folksy. He was great. And then another person, Olivia Newsy, she said, Rick Perry, perhaps having not received the memo about how the press is treated in this room, tells a reporter his question is astute. So they were having fun. But just listen to it. He's so yummy.
Why not have a conversation about that? I mean, what is the other side? The people who say the science is settled. It's done. If you don't believe that, you're a skeptic, a Luddite. I don't buy that. I don't think there is. I mean, this is America. Have a conversation. Let's come out of the shadows of hiding behind, your political statements, and let's talk about it. What's wrong with that? And I'm full. Well, I can be convinced, but why not? Let's talk about it.
Yeah, so he said, why don't we have a debate on climate change? He's open for it.
Yeah, I've always liked Rick Perry. I mean, I don't have the screaming thigh sweats for him like you do, but I mean, good grief, yummy.
He's great.
I think it's the glasses. I think the glasses not only make him look more intellectual, they're actually having an impact. He's using words like Luddite and astute.
But also now people are saying that he should be press secretary along with Secretary of Energy.
Well, let's not.
And then, but the best though, at the end, he's still holding on to the lectern, and Sarah Huckabee's trying to get in. Say, okay, we got to go. And he, oh yeah, I'm almost done. Reporters, you guys should be able to ask 2 questions, not 1 question. I mean, it was really good. You should watch it.
Okay.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer,
we're gonna pivot from Rick Perry and how yummy he is to Steve Moore. And a discussion about the delay in the Obamacare replace vote in the Senate. That's at 7:37.
And then later, you should stay fit for your husband. It is the best gift you can give him. But first, into the newsroom we go. Here's Mike Scott.
Amy and Dan, good morning. 63 degrees in the Nissan of St. Charles newsroom. Nissan of St. Charles, home of the Lifetime Advantage warranty. The big issue this morning, health care and health insurance reform, and a vote on a GOP health insurance reform bill being put off until after the 4th of July because of Republican opposition. They hold the majority in the Senate, but that bill to repeal and replace Obamacare has been facing growing opposition.
Everybody around the table is interested in getting to yes, interested in getting an outcome, because we know the status quo is simply unacceptable, unsustainable, and no action is just not an option.
Democrats remain united against the bill.
We're willing to listen to their ideas, but it's not going to be a negotiation of how big a tax cut should we give to the rich, how much should we cut Medicaid.
House narrowly passed a similar measure last month. Construction on President Trump's border wall will get underway in September. U.S. Customs and Border Protection saying it will select as many as 8 firms over the next few weeks to build prototypes for a wall. Defense Secretary Jim Mattis says U.S. troops will keep a forward presence in Eastern Europe through 2020. The Defense Secretary speaking in Germany today. Well, Bulls fans, it looks like Phil Jackson's run as president of basketball operations for the New York Knicks is coming to an end. ESPN reporting that New York and Jackson will announce their parting ways this morning. 3 former or current Chicago police officers are accused of taking part in a cover-up to protect the officer who shot and killed Laquan McDonald in 2014. Special Prosecutor Patricia Brown announced that indictment yesterday.
This indictment alleges that these defendants lied about what occurred during a police-involved shooting in order to prevent independent criminal investigators from learning the truth.
Only Officer Thomas Gaffney is still with the Chicago Police Department. An investigation continues following a 2-vehicle crash in Chicago that killed an off-duty police officer and another woman. On-duty officers tried to curb that off-duty officer early yesterday, but he sped off, then colliding with another car at Roosevelt and Costner. Both the driver and a woman driving the other vehicle were killed. Chicago sports. Cubs lost to the Nationals. Sox nipped the Yankees with a bottom of the 9th inning rally. And the news, a service of Napa Auto Parts this month at participating Napa Auto stores. The easy-to-use AC Pro refrigerant with pressure gauge and quick connect hose is $33.99. So keep your ride running longer, stronger, and cooler all summer long with AC Pro refrigerant. 7:34 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Visit Discount Tire this Friday and Saturday for up to $320 in Visa prepaid cards when you buy select packages with Discount Tire credit. Discount Tire, America's neighborhood tire store.
There's so much to look forward to as the weather gets warmer. Outdoor sports and activities, backyard parties, and graduations. For your next celebration, party, or get-together, leave the eats to Augustino's Rock and Roll Deli. Whether it's around your table or theirs, Augie's is the place where sports teams, families, and friends celebrate with great food at a great price for almost 40 years. Try their signature subs, freshly made and fully loaded with the highest quality meats and cheese. Or choose from their fresh, never-frozen half-pound Angus beef burgers, authentic homemade Italian beef sandwiches, hand-rolled meatballs, pizza, and fresh salads. Dine in, surrounded by authentic rock and roll memorabilia, or phone ahead for orders to go. Whatever works for your team, Augie's offers fast, fresh, affordable food, designed to make your special time with friends and family simple and easy. Augustino's Rock and Roll Deli in Carroll Stream or West Chicago. Don't forget to check out their extensive catering menu at augustinos.com. This season, let the good times happen with Augustino's Rock and Roll Deli.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies.
I've been on vitamins, I've been on all kinds of supplements, but nothing has come close to your product. The difference between before I started the product and afterwards is like night and day. I do have more energy, and that was what I really was after. I mean, I get all these benefits. It's wonderful. I had no energy at all, and I thought, how can I live this way? I do one little chore, and then I have to sit and rest. And I find that I get through the day pretty well, and I really have more energy. I look in the mirror and I say, I think I feel more alive. I think I look more alive.
Take Dr. Howard's Health Challenge and find out how to get 2 free sets of fruits and veggies. We'll even ship them to you free. Call 1-800-2468-751. That's 1-800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com. Use promo code Chicago.
7:36. Let's check the roads in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center. Here's Jim Telemonte.
Thanks, Mike. Inbound Kennedy delay started Central 37 minutes O'Hare to downtown. Outbound 30. Eden's 21 minutes. Lake Hook to the junction. Outbound 24. Mount Eisenhower looking at 52 minutes. Thorndale to downtown. Outbound 36. The Stevenson 55 minutes. 3:55 to Lakeshore Drive. Outbound 42. On the Ryan, it's 27 minutes from 95th to downtown. Tri-State southbound heavy 21 to Everett and Lawrence to the Bensonville Bridge. Northbound 87th to the Hinsdale Oasis from the Reagan Solar to North Avenue. Veterans Memorial bottled up Boughton most of the way to Roosevelt. Then North Avenue to 290. 8094 eastbound jammed Kennedy to Grant. Crashed the 2 left lanes. Traffic service CC's now at CC's. Party with the new stuffed crust trio. Bacon stuffed crust, a new grilled cheese stuffed crust pizza. Join the original with pepperoni. The stuffed crust parties on the unlimited buffet for just $5 and change. CC's. Prices may vary for a limited time only. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte, AM 560. The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the aircomfort.com Weather Center. Providing the right climate for business since 1935. A cloudy morning, windy afternoon. Some midday rain creeps in, and then maybe a thunderstorm later, high 83. Currently 64. Next news coming up at 8. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is sponsored by Wine Time Radio. Every Saturday at 5 p.m. on AM 560, explore the wonderful world of wine with host James Crooker and Rob Lehner.
If you're talking about it, I'll be talking about it. Dennis Prager here. Join me this morning at 11, right here on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. And so Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell has delayed the vote on Obamacare replacement in the Senate till after the July 4th break.
I like the headline, Health Care on Hold.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's not dead yet.
No.
We went through this process in the House. But the Wall Street Journal puts it this way to conservatives in particular. Now, the opposition is coming from a couple of different angles, much like it did in the House. But for conservatives, the Wall Street Journal asks this question. Republicans can either set aside their narrow self-interest and fix Obamacare on their terms, or they can collapse in disarray and bail it out on Mr. Schumer's. In 2018, they can defend an accomplishment or try to explain away a failure. Americans will know the difference, essentially saying, look, if you can't get 50 Republicans to agree on what Obamacare replace would look like, at least prior to conferencing with the House Democrats and reconciling the two proposals, then and Mitch McConnell warned his caucus about this, then you're essentially prompting us to have to deal with Chuck Schumer, who called the Senate bill in its current form rotten to the core. So what's going to come out of having to enlist some Democrats to pass some kind of replacement? Or do we just stand back and let the thing continue to collapse and let people continue to either face monopoly pricing from one health insurance provider or no pricing from no health insurance providers in their particular locale? These are the questions Republicans confront. What are the answers? For those, we're pleased to be joined by our friend Steve Moore. I'm not going to refer to him by his CNN title anymore. We're going to call him a former Donald Trump advisor and Wall Street Journal columnist. Steve, thanks for joining us.
Hi, guys. Good morning. Hi, Dan. Hi, Amy.
Good morning. So what is Mitch McConnell and Senate Republicans, what are they to do on this matter?
Well, one of the things we've discovered over the last few months is how Republicans don't do health care very well, do they? And, they're pretty good at cutting taxes and, on budget reform and so on. But when it comes to health care, they've gotten all tangled up here. And it's a problem because politically the bill that they're promoting is only 20 to 25, 30% support. It's hard to get something like that through. Democrats have controlled the narrative here, which is, these mean Republicans want to throw people off of their health insurance. When in fact, the reality is that Obamacare is a catastrophe. It's melted down, as you just said. People are losing their health insurance. People can't afford the health insurance. I mean, the irony of this whole thing is that we're trying to repeal something called the Affordable Care Act, which is a joke because I saw a statistic yesterday that the average family is now paying $5,000 more for health insurance. If you're living on a $40,000, $60,000 income, $5,000 a year more, for health insurance is a big, big extra cost. And so, what do you do here? You got to just ram this thing through. You got to get it done. I mean, I think just talking about the politics, the political consequences of not getting this done are much worse than getting it done. And one last thing I would say, Dan, about, your little soliloquy there, is that I don't see any possible scenario of working with any single Democrat in the Congress. They don't want to repeal Obamacare.
Right.
They want to expand it. I mean, listen, Dan, to what our friend Bernie Sanders is saying. I mean, he's the only honest Democrat out there. He's saying, Obamacare is a mess. We need a single-payer government-run health care system.
Right, and he's on a 3-day tour promoting that. Bernie Sanders
I know he is.
Well,
So
before he and his wife go to prison.
Democrats agree with him. They just won't admit it. And that's, look, we knew from the very start. I was thinking about this last night when I was driving home. As you guys know, I worked for 10 years for the Wall Street Journal editorial page. When Obamacare was being debated, remember back in 2009, I think at the Wall Street Journal, we must have run 100 editorials predicting the things that would happen if Obamacare was passed. And everything that we predicted has happened. In fact, the only thing that we didn't predict is that it would melt down as fast as it had. So we were completely right. And when I say we, I just mean conservatives in general who made this argument against it. And yet here we are today, and we can't get rid of it because once you give an entitlement to a person, it's almost impossible to take it away.
Well, then if you do take it away, you look heartless, and you look as if you don't care about the poor and the indigent. Well, what about this, the insurance mandate? Do you think that might be put back into the bill?
Now, which mandate are you talking about?
Oh, no, the insurance mandate that you have to buy insurance else you'll get.
Oh, well, that's one of the worst features of Obamacare because what's happened is, here's the other joke about this, Amy. I'm so glad you brought this up. I mean, I've been on CNN about 6 or 7 times in the last couple of days since that CBO report came out, which said something like 22 million people are going to lose their health insurance. Here's what people aren't telling you. Almost half of those people who, quote, are going to lose their health insurance, you know why they're going to lose their health insurance? Because if you take the individual mandate, if you don't force people to buy the health care and
right.
Figuratively stick a gun to their head and say you've got to buy it, people don't want it. Now, how are you doing a favor to people when you force them to buy something they don't want and they can't afford? I mean, you're actually liberating people from Obamacare. You're not burdening them by getting rid of that individual mandate.
Well, speaking of these competing arguments, to the extent that Republicans are making a discernible one, I mean, they really remind me of Illinois Republicans, which is
that's pretty bad.
Well, it is. It's at the first sign of criticism or the accusation of heartlessness, they just melt into a puddle of tears. And with respect to Medicaid, which is the basis for those heartless, barbaric comments coming from Pagliacci and Comrade Bernie and the gang, here's the fact. The Obamacare incentives with respect to Medicaid, a good example comes from Rich Lowry in his piece in the New York Post, where he talks about how the Obamacare had higher federal matches for able-bodied enrollees than for vulnerable populations. For example, West Virginia received 7 times as much federal money for spending $1 on an able-bodied adult as compared to spending $1 on a disabled person. The disabled person, the population Medicaid was originally conceived to serve in the first place. So, I don't understand why Republicans can't make these cases and they have to argue on the Democrats' terms of you're heartless, no, I'm not. You're barbaric, no, I'm not. Lay out the case for the American public in a succinct, transparent way, why we're doing this, what we're trying to accomplish, and how we're going to get there, and just ignore the hysterics you knew were going to come from the left.
Well, I think you're exactly right, Dan. And on this Medicaid, most people don't understand how Medicaid works because, why would people have to understand it? But the one thing people should understand about it, it is the most perverse program ever invented. You couldn't come up with anything stupider than Medicaid because essentially what you do is every time the state spends $2 on Medicaid, in a lot of states, it's $3 on Medicaid, they get $2 from the federal government.
Right.
So effectively, what these states have an incentive to do is get as many people on Medicaid as possible, load up the cost, because every dollar that they spend, they get 67 cents more from the. So a lot of states are trying to balance their budgets by putting more people on Medicaid. It's just a stupid system.
And the Senate proposal aims to deal with that at least in a step. Yeah.
By saying we're going to give you a set amount, a block grant, and saying to the states of Illinois and Wisconsin, Minnesota, and California, you've got this amount of money, spend it wisely. And by the way, we've had experiments in this. We did this in Rhode Island. We've done that in Indiana. And when you do that and give the states money and say, spend it wisely, you know what? They do. They find ways to reduce costs and so on. The other thing, on the narrative here, I think the Republicans haven't done a good enough job of basically telling people, look, there isn't going to be an insurance market left if we stick with Obamacare. Yeah, maybe 22 million people are going to lose their health insurance if we get rid of Obamacare, but if we keep it, nobody's going to have health insurance. And literally, the whole system is collapsing right before our very eyes. And all these, liberals are saying, well, all it needs is a Band-Aid. No, you can't. It's like saying, you just need a little plug to fix the hole in the Titanic. It's sinking, folks.
All right. Quick prediction, Steve, is ultimately something going to come out of the Senate?
It's going to pass. I don't know when it's going to pass.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's going to be in a week or 2 weeks or by Labor Day, but they are going to get this thing done. And it's an ugly process, and the Republicans are going to take their lumps, but they got to get it done. And then, we got to get done because then, guess what, Dan? We get to start talking about my favorite subject,
tax reform.
Tax cuts.
There you go. All right. Well, that'll be our next topic. Hopefully, the next time you're on, Wall Street Journal columnist and former Donald Trump economic advisor Steve Moore. Thanks for being with us, Steve. Appreciate it.
See you guys. Have a great week.
And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
Before you see it on TV, share it on Facebook, or read about it in the paper, hear it here first. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Coming up next, a liberal wrestler. But first, here's your forecast. Cloudy today. And by this afternoon, we're going to have some rain, a possible thunderstorm, a high of 83 degrees. And tonight, a severe evening thunderstorm that can bring some flooding and damaging winds. So be on the lookout for that. And tomorrow, you'll have variable clouds, breezy, warm, humid again. And things are going to be heating up around here. We'll have a shower of thunderstorms, but a high near 90 degrees. Now let's get into our Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center. Here's the one and only Jim Telemonte.
Thanks, Amy. Good morning. Morning, Dan. Got big problems in northwest Indiana on eastbound 8094. It's a big jam from before Kennedy Avenue to Grant with a crash in the 2 left lanes. The Gapers delay westbound is from I-65 to Grant. At 65 northbound is Heavy Ridge Road to 8094. The Edens is 21 minutes, Lake Cook to Montrose, outbound 26. The Kennedy, 38 minutes, O'Hare to downtown, outbound 30. Eisenhower. 50 minutes, Thorndale to the post office, outbound 45 to Stevenson. 55 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive, outbound 42. The ramp from northbound 55 to US 30 is blocked with an overturned semi. Ryan, 27 minutes, 95th to downtown. I'm Jim Talamonte in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center.
Oh, got a great night's sleep again, all thanks to MyPillow. I don't have one MyPillow. I don't have two. I think I have 3 or 4. And I lent one to my neighbor, and he loves the MyPillow too. You know why? Because it conforms to your neck and back, and every pillow is not made the same. This is made with a patented fill from our good friend Mike Lindell over there in Minnesota. He uses American labor only when making the American-made MyPillow. And it definitely conforms to your neck and back to give you the best sleep ever. You can wash it and dry it. You don't have to take it to the cleaners when it gets dirty. And it's hypoallergenic. And there's a 10-year warranty and a 60-day money-back guaranteed. Nothing to lose here, folks. And in the month of June, when you order a MyPillow 4-pack, that's 2 premium MyPillows and 2 Go Anywhere MyPillows, you'll get it for 50% off, half off. So here's what you do. Go to MyPillow.com, promo code Amy, or call the number 800-489-0201. That's 800-489-0201, promo code Amy.
I'm Trina Webster.
And I'm Dan Webster, founders of Z Quiet. Let me be honest, I snored.
Yeah, he did. Crazy loud.
And I was forced to sleep on the couch most nights.
Dan tried everything, including surgery, to solve his snoring problem.
Nothing worked.
So we turned to experts and created a solution that's a total game changer, a mouthpiece called Z Quiet.
Not just any mouthpiece, one that gently opens the airway where the snoring happens. In fact, it's based on the same technology as treatments costing thousands of dollars.
It allows natural jaw movement so you can talk, breathe normally, and best of all, sleep comfortably without making a sound.
And what's really cool is that it couldn't be easier. Just pop it in before you go to sleep to kick snoring out of bed.
So you can sleep quiet
with Z Quiet.
Z Quiet fits both men and women. Try it risk-free for 30 days for just $9.95. Go to getzquiet.com or text SNORE to 91011. Go to getzquiet.com or text SNORE to 91011.
This is Dan Proft with 60 Seconds of Sanity, sponsored by Upstream-Ideas.com. In 2008, Barack Obama scaled Chicago's big government trafficking operation nationally. The nation got only a small taste of the damage Chicago's RICO-style governance inflicts. Illinois has not been so fortunate. The kleptocratic kingpins who run the city that works you over have relegated Illinois to the status of a cautionary tale as to how a poisonous government-centric culture turns the state into one giant Ponzi scheme. Politics pervades everything in Illinois. The result is that the nation's highest combined state and local tax burden has proven no match for the spending appetites of Pauls who've racked up $250 billion in debt while skipping out on more tabs than Leona Helmsley in her heyday. With collapse in the offing, the Sicarios for Illinois' political crime family seek a federal lifeline in the form of state bankruptcy. Congress should consider removing sovereign immunity protections to make an example of those who turned Illinois into the bad example. Of America's 50 laboratories of democracy, Illinois is the meth lab. If we want to prevent more states from getting hooked on junk governance, the Bernie Madoff treatment should be applied to those who cook the books in Illinois. Many of our listeners are ready to transition into a quality and worry-free retirement. Here's Mike Gibbons of the Gibbons Financial Group.
Thanks, Dan. Last year, we brought you our complimentary Social Security maximization planning, allowing listeners an optimal claiming strategy. While this was invaluable to many of you, proper planning should regard the totality of income through market movements. Our software will show you how to maximize retirement income. We'll also show you possible scenarios that could reduce your future income. This level of planning detail typically costs upwards of $1,500, but for AM 560 listeners, we're offering it at no cost. So if you're considering retirement, go to retiremetoday.com to view our retirement readiness video, or call Gibbons Financial Group at 224-419-5550 for your complimentary analysis. It's your future. That's retiremetoday.com or call 224-419-5550.
Securities offered through LPL Financial, member FINRA SIPC.
I hate cleaning my gutters. I kept hearing ads for that gutter guard system, so I thought, why not? I'll get an estimate. I was shocked. I never thought gutter guards could cost so much. Then I heard about Spring Rock gutter guards. The estimate is free, so it made sense to at least compare them. I was shocked again by how much money they saved me. I'm talking thousands, like enough to take my family to Disney World. They take a different approach to gutter protection. A completely closed design keeps all types of debris out of your gutters. Sure, those higher-priced systems may keep the leaves out, but Spring Rock gets the job done at up to half the price with no compromise on quality. Spring Rock also comes with the same lifetime warranty. If the gutter system ever clogs, they will clean it out for free, no questions asked. Same result for less money. That's smart. There's more than one option when it comes to gutter guards. Compare today and save at springrockgutters.com or call 708-571-0632. Special financing is available. Drain your gutters, not your wallet.
You are about to hear from Dr. Douglas Howard.
After 20 years and tens of thousands of success stories, Balance of Nature is still the only pure whole food supplement available. Balance of Nature has served more than 500 million servings of fruits and vegetables. Don't accept imitations, copies, or substitutions. Our success stories are unique to Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies. You'll know you have the real thing when you open the bottles and see, smell, and taste real produce.
It is worth every penny I pay because they really have made such a difference in my life. It is making me feel a whole lot better.
Even my doctor thought it was a good product.
Take Dr. Howard's Health Challenge and find out how to get 2 free sets of fruits and veggies. We'll even ship them to you for free. Call now for details.
Call 800-2468-751. That's 800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com.
Use promo code Chicago.
AM 560, The Answer. Let freedom ring this afternoon at 2 with Sean Hannity. Right before Joe Walsh at 5 on AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy, it's not the first time politics has been introduced in World Wrestling or its minor league versions. Yeah, remember Hacksaw Jim Duggan? He had the American flag, and he was a patriotic guy.
And Linda McMahon.
Yeah.
Remember her?
Well, yeah. Well, she ran for Senate. I'm talking about the characters.
Oh, okay. Well, she's a character.
Yeah.
They're all characters. They all play a role. It's a theater.
Iron Sheik was a bad guy. Mm-hmm. Baron von Raschke was a bad guy.
Mike Adamle, remember when he was there for a while?
But talking about characters.
I know. Well, he was a character. It was an act. They called him Mike Adamale.
Okay. I'm not talking about mispronunciations. I'm talking about taking on personas. So there's one in this Kentucky-based Appalachian Mountain Wrestling.
Oh, wow.
Progressive liberal Dan Richards. He wears like garb that like T-shirts with all Hillary, just with Hillary faces on it. He wears "Not My President" T-shirts.
Does he have a staple gun?
Listen to him talking to the Appalachian. He gets into this. Progressive liberal Dan Richards talking to the Appalachian Mountain Wrestling's version of Mean Gene Okerlund.
Thing I can't stand about all these East Kentucky Helljacks, all these country boys, is they all think they're so tough because they're corn-fed and cornbred. I'm going to take care of all these people in Appalachian, Kentucky. Okay? That's how you pronounce it, Nathan Little. You people need to be reprogrammed. You continually vote against your own interests. You put people in Congress, in the White House, that aren't going to help you. They're not going to bring your jobs back. So let me tell you what the progressive liberal Daniel Richards is going to do. We're going to reprogram you. We're going to re-educate you. We're going to teach you to read and write. We're going to help you get jobs.
He's an honest progressive liberal, at least, the whole reprogramming part. But I think he needs a little bit more verve, a little bit more demagoguery, hyperbolic quality to him if he wants to make it WWE.
You can help him with that.
Yeah, I mean, listen a little bit more. This is progressive liberal Dan Richards in an actual match. Listen to him, jeering with the crowd.
I was sitting out there in the back, and I was listening to that feller strum his little guitar, and I understand now why you all identify with country music. It's slow, and it's simple, and it's boring, just like each and every one of you. I'm just here to deliver the truth. No need to get hostile.
Did you hear the little kid say, "You better shut up"?
Yeah. My pa's gonna come get you.
Then he pinned him. Now, breaking news in this story.
Uh-oh.
Progressive liberal Dan Richards has been offered the news director job at CNN.
Thank you. That's very good.
Thank you very much.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
We're going to talk to Peter Ferrara, former advisor to President Reagan, and now senior fellow for entitlement and budget policy at the Heartland Institute. A little bit more discussion of Obamacare replace and what it could, should, and may look like.
And later, Serena Williams and John McEnroe. McEnroe is not apologizing, and more celebrities and athletes are weighing in. But first, let's go into the newsroom. Here is Mike Scott.
Amy and Dan, Chicago police charged in a police shooting cover-up. We'll have reaction and details on that developing story. Cubs make their second visit to the White House since winning the World Series. Illinois Democrats unveiling part of their budget plan with just days to go in a special session. And retailers are looking to stop, stall, or otherwise put at arm's length a new Cook County soda tax that goes into effect this weekend. Cloudy, windy with some midday rain and an afternoon thunderstorm. WIND Chicago News Time, 8 o'clock.
Republicans are not giving up. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News.
Failure is simply not an option.
GOP Senator John Thune confident that after the 4th of July break, they can convince skeptical Republicans to switch from no to yes on the bill to replace Obamacare.
It's a function of going back to the drawing board, hitting the pause button for just a minute, but we will get there.
So how do they get conservative Rand Paul on board?
And it has to be more of a repeal bill.
Some moderates don't like reductions in Medicaid. No Democrats support the bill, saying it'll hurt the sick and the poor and millions will lose coverage. President Trump calls Democrats obstructionists.
Obamacare is a total disaster. It's melting down as we speak.
He met with all 52 Republican senators at the White House, then tweeted this morning, news reports he's not totally engaged in health care are wrong. Tonight, the president holds the first fundraiser for his 2020 re-election bid amid the ongoing probe into 2016. There's news on that, and Fox's John Decker is live at the White House.
Paul Manafort, who chaired President Trump's presidential campaign for several months last year, has retroactively registered as a foreign agent for political consulting work he did for a Ukrainian political party. Manafort disclosed to the Justice Department that his firm received over $17 million over 2 years from 2012 to 2014. Manafort is one of a number of Trump associates whose campaign activities are being scrutinized by special counsel Robert Mueller as part of his probe of Russian interference in the 2016 presidential election. Dave?
John, more Chicago cops are in trouble over a deadly 2014 shooting. Fox's Jeff Manasso live in Chicago.
3 current or former officers face obstruction charges, accused by prosecutor Patricia Holmes of lying to cover up the 2014 Laquan McDonald shooting to allegedly obey
an unofficial code of silence.
McDonald was high on PCP, resisting and wielding a knife when he was shot 16 times. Another officer faces murder charges in the case. That also led to protests. Dave.
Fox News, fair and balanced.
63 degrees, mostly cloudy skies. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott in the Nissan of St. Charles newsroom. Nissan of St. Charles, home of the Lifetime Advantage warranty. 3 former or current Chicago police officers are accused of taking part in a cover-up to protect the officer who shot and killed Laquan McDonald in 2014. A special prosecutor, Patricia Brown, announced that indictment yesterday, charging the officers, Joseph Walsh, Thomas Gaffney, and Detective David March, with conspiracy, obstruction, and official misconduct. Gaffney is the only officer still with the Chicago Police Department. Democrats at the Illinois Capitol say they want to raise your taxes by $5 billion, spend nearly $36.5 billion more. But Democrats are not saying where they will cut in their proposed new state budget that they're negotiating with Republican Governor Bruce Rauner. Authorities call the death of a driver in a deadly crash this week in Chicago's River North neighborhood a suicide. Anthony Milder was speeding when his vehicle hit a utility pole and burst into flames at Ontario and Orleans. The collision killed the passenger, and later that evening, Milder was found dead in his Northwest Side apartment after apparently hanging himself. Store owners across the state are joining with Cook County store owners, asking a judge to stop or at least slow down Cook County's new soda tax. The Illinois Retail Merchants Association will be in a Cook County courtroom later today. Cubs fell to the Nationals 6-1. Jose Abreu's 2-out, 2-run single in the bottom of the ninth rallied the White Sox to a 4-3 win over the Yankees. The news, a service of Hum by Verizon. With Hum by Verizon, you can get expert advice from a certified mechanic, the same way you turn on the AC with the push of a button with the mechanic's hotline, vehicle diagnostics, and more. Hum is the technology that connects you to your car. Learn more at hum.com. 8:04, time for the AM 560 Business Beat from the Fox Business Network and a service of Turnkey.pro. Here is Jenny Casola.
from the Fox Business Network. Business was better than expected this spring at the maker of Cheerios and the Betty Crocker brand. General Mills earnings top forecasts. But it's a mixed report. Sales improved at only 3 of the company's 4 units, and General Mills says sales this year will likely decline. The meal kit company Blue Apron is lowering its expectations for its stock sale expected this week. Blue Apron is going public on the New York Stock Exchange. It was predicting its stock would debut at $15 to $17 a share. Now it's lowered that price to $10 or $11. The rainy spring may have cut into business at the Shake Shack chain. The New York Post says analysts at Goldman Sachs are predicting sales slipped more than 2% in the current quarter. The Dow was down 98 yesterday, NASDAQ dropped 100, and the S&P lost 19. With the Fox Business Report, I'm Ginny Cosola.
8:05 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Folks, when shopping for a home mortgage, how much is great service, low closing costs, and competitive interest rates worth to you? At Townstone Financial, it's priceless. Hi, Barry Sterner, founder of Townstone Financial. Let's hear about the Townstone experience from one of our customers.
You're making a big commitment, and having people like you guys on our side really eased all that tension that we had. I have friends that are in the process of looking at homes and, trying to get their feet wet with, just getting into the real estate market, and I've already, given your guys' name out. Absolutely. You guys are hands down one of the best companies I've ever dealt with. You guys are top-notch excellent.
Remember, nobody values your home mortgage business more than Townstone. I guarantee it, and I own the company. So call me now, Barry Sterner, at 312-896-2110. That's 312-896-2110, or go to townstone.com. That's TOWNSTONE.com.
Townstone Financials, Indiana, Michigan, Wisconsin, Florida, Illinois, mortgage licensee 6629 and NMLS 136639, equal housing lender.
I'm Nick Soboleski, a Select Quote agent with a true story that could save you hundreds of dollars a year. A woman named Linda just called. Her husband, Ray, has a $300,000 group life insurance policy, but is changing jobs and can't take it with him. Well, I impartially shopped the highly rated term life insurance companies we represent and found Ray, who is 41 and takes medication to control his cholesterol, a 10-year, $500,000 policy for under $26 a month. That's almost twice the coverage for less than half of what he had paid. If SelectQuote hasn't shopped for your life insurance, you're probably paying too much.
For your free quote, call 1-800-348-2121. That's 1-800-348-2121. 1-800-348-2121. Or go to SelectQuote.com. We shop, you save. Get full details on the example policy at SelectQuote.com/commercials. Your price can vary depending on your health, issuing company, and other factors. Not available in all states.
8:07. Let's get an update on the roads in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center with Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. Eastbound 8094, traffic is jammed. Calumet Avenue to Grant. There's a crash in the 2 left lanes, and westbound the delays from I-65 to Grant. Northbound 65 delays start at Ridge Road. Edens is 22 minutes. Lake Cook to Montrose, outbound 25. Kennedy, 37 minutes. O'Hare to downtown, 23 from Montrose, 19 in the Express. Outbound 30 to O'Hare. Eisenhower, 50 minutes. Thorndale to downtown, outbound 45. Stevenson, 55 minutes. 355 to Lakeshore Drive, outbound 42. The ramp from 55 northbound to 30 is closed. Rollover truck. Ryan, 27 minutes. 95th to downtown. On the Tri-State southbound, it's slow 21 to Everett, Lawrence to the Bensonville Bridge, northbound 87th to Hinsdale Oasis, the Reagan's all the way to North Avenue, Veterans Royal slow about most of the way to Roosevelt, and North Avenue to 290. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte, and AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the AirComfort.com Weather Center with our meteorologist, Kevin Snyder.
Today, mostly cloudy, windy, and warm with occasional rain and a thunderstorm. During the midday, high 83. Severe thunderstorm this evening, then a passing shower late tonight, a low 69. I'm Kevin Snyder on AM 560. The Answer.
Currently 63. Next news coming up at 8:30. And Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Listen to AM 560 on your mobile device. Now available on iHeartRadio. Online at iHeartRadio.com.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. We took up this matter yesterday. John McEnroe saying Serena Williams is the greatest female tennis player of all time.
In the world, yes. Greatest player in the world.
That greatest female.
Greatest female. Oh, sorry. You're
and
right.
And that wasn't good enough. That compliment wasn't good enough. Of course, he's pressed by some goofy, silly leftist reporter on the topic of why isn't she just the best tennis player, regardless of gender? And
wonderful female players. Let's talk about Serena Williams. You say she is the best female player in the world in the book.
Best female player ever, no question.
Some wouldn't qualify it. Some would say she's the best player in the world. Why qualify it?
Oh, she's not, you mean the best player in the world, period?
Yeah, best tennis player in the world. You know, why say female player?
Well, because if she played the men's circuit, she'd be like 700 in the world.
You think so?
Yeah. That doesn't mean I don't think Serena's like an incredible player. I do. But there's, the reality of what would happen on a given day. Serena could beat some players, I believe, because she's so incredibly strong mentally. But if she had to just play the circuit, the men's circuit, that would be an entirely different story. So maybe at some point a women's tennis player, can be better than anybody. I mean, I haven't seen it in any other sport. And I haven't seen it in tennis, and I suppose anything's possible at some stage.
This is so dumb. This is the fact that what John McEnroe just said is in controversy in certain quarters. Those quarters are ignorant and silly. They're identity-obsessed simps.
They see it as an attack on a female athlete, and that men can't be better than women. But men
calling
are
her the best female tennis player in the world ever.
Mm-hmm.
Ever. That's an attack on a female athlete.
That's what I heard yesterday from the lady friends. And I said,
really?
But what he said is the truth. I mean, it is true. And Joe Namath, God bless him, Joe Namath, he was on Fox Business with Stuart Varney last night. And listen to this. He said, I love watching her over the years, but being a male and knowing the difference in speed and quickness, and strength, I'm not going to argue or disagree with what John McEnroe said.
This is like arguing whether or not water is wet. By the way, so forget Joe Namath.
Wait, but it's Joe Namath.
What does it mean to you now when the team is struggling?
I want to kiss you. I couldn't care less about the team struggling.
Yeah, he wouldn't have said that to John McEnroe. Said that to Susie Colbert.
I just want to kiss you.
So how about this?
I love it. Yes, sir.
Billie Jean King. Is not your lover. She's not. Although she may want to be. August of 2016, she was asked if Serena could compete with her male counterparts. She was asked by TMZ. No, not the top ones. It would depend on how low you go down the rankings before finding a man that Williams would be able to beat. But Billie Jean King made it clear that Serena wouldn't have a chance against the elite players. Oh, and then there's this. Put this just absurdity to bed. What planet do these people that you talk to live on? Can they not examine any evidence? Can they not think substantively? Are they that obsessed with navel-gazing nonsense?
Well, if you watched Windy City Live, which I was forced to do yesterday, they talked about Billie Jean King. Well, she was able to beat the guy that she played, and I'm screaming at the TV, it was a rigged match because he owed gambling debts. I mean, that's what these women are. They don't understand. I mean, I coach both boys sports and girls sports, and really, only at certain levels in their life are they going to be equal. Like when they're in 5th and 6th grade, maybe they can play each other. It'll be a friendly match. But besides that, the boys will crush the girls.
Understand? I mean, the lobotomized reviews that you get from these identity-obsessed leftists, whether it's those cute girls on The View, Ryan and Val.
Yeah, Windy City
Those
Live.
ladies. Oh, yeah, whatever. The same show.
And he didn't come up and stick up for himself. And he played football at Colorado, and you think he'd come and say something intelligent, but no.
Or the leadership of the Democrat Party. It's the same thing. Do you really want to be affiliated with people that are flat earthers, essentially? So can I offer the definitive review on whether Serena can compete with men? Oh, this is from Serena.
Okay.
For me, men's tennis and women's tennis are completely almost two separate sports. If I were to play Andy Murray, I would lose 6-0, 6-0 in 5 to 6 minutes, maybe 10 minutes. No, it's true. It's a completely different sport. The men are a lot faster, and they serve harder. They hit harder. It's just a different game. I love to play women's tennis. I only want to play girls because I don't want to be embarrassed.
Okay, I know she said that, but in her tweet, she said, "Dear John, I adore and respect you, but please keep me out of your statements that are not factually based. I've never played anyone ranked there, nor do I have time. Respect me and my privacy as I'm trying to have a baby."
What is it?
Good day, sir.
So she's just
so she changed what, I mean, she's saying what she tweeted out is different than.
Yeah, and respect your privacy. We're talking about you as an athlete. You're a public figure. You didn't know that? It's just silliness. She's playing political correct nonsense now, too. That's what she actually said when she was asked about the game. That was a specific response, not her, like, I don't want to be dragged into controversy. I don't want to get involved in the gender wars prosecuted by these man-hating shrews that you that populate your neighborhood. I mean, it's just absurd. And the thing that's so sad about this is those women, do you understand? Those women are anti-women. The women that you're talking about. I can't believe what John McEnroe said. They hate girls because what they're doing is saying, I want to preclude girls from being able to enjoy sports at any age, including professionally. That's what they're saying with their nonsense. Stop indulging it. Why do we indulge these people? They are sophisticated barbarians. They live in nice homes and have fancy degrees, and they don't know up from down. They're mopes, and they're destructive mopes at that. And something as important as sports, particularly for young people, girls and boys, you're just going to willy-nilly allow that to be sacrificed on the altar of these idiots? Ralph in Rantoul, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hey, good morning. Hey, except for kind of exhibition matches, which are just made for people to chuckle, like the Billie Jean King match with whatever that guy's name was.
Bobby Riggs.
When it was tried on the, what was his name?
Bobby Riggs. Oh, sorry.
Thank you. When it was done on the open market for real, I mean, the results were dramatic. Annika Sorenstam a few years ago, nobody on the female circuit could beat her. She was just the champion of everything. And so she listened to some of the ridiculous hype around her and said, well, you know, maybe I could play with the big boys and play on the men's side. She couldn't even make the cuts. It was and we're talking about golf, where there really are international players. It's not just like our baseball league where we kind of call it the World Series, but it's now I get it, it's getting more world-like with the players, but it's still just our team doing it. Golf, different matter. So on the world stage against the men, Annika Sorenstam got her butt kicked. Here's though where I'm open for stuff. I think, given the fact that the Bears have gone through about 87 quarterbacks in the last 30 years, if you put a little hole in the back of the helmet through which a cute ponytail could be pulled, I would buy tickets to see the first female Bears quarterback.
Well, you still have the lingerie league, don't you? Thanks for the call, Ralph. You got that if you want to see some football.
I sat next to a linebacker on the lingerie league.
That's tackle.
Yeah.
You got that.
And it's not staged. That is, they really go after each other. That's what she told me.
Bob in Waukegan.
Yeah, I can't believe I'm wasting my one phone call a day on something so asinine.
Well,
all you have to do to figure this out is go to high school sports where they allow Joe to be Jolene, and he kicks every girl's butt in whatever sport he's in.
Right.
So next time some feminist says that, pulls this crap, all you got to do is ask her why she thinks that is. Just turn the question around on the idiot.
Thanks for the call, Bob. You know, the point is, and why I'm so exercised, you think this is silly. It's silly right until people who think like this are in charge of K through 12 school systems and universities as they are today.
Well, they're in charge of their children. And the children are our future. I don't know if you know that. But I tried to point out that...
Whitney.
Thank you. But I tried to point out that he was complimenting her. I mean, he said she is the best female tennis player in the world.
Not good enough. Mark in Des Plaines.
Hi, good morning. You guys, I just had a discussion about this with my daughter on the way to the train. This is ridiculous. She cheated. He cheated is what I should have said. He should have been disqualified from playing against women as soon as he became, a transvestite. This is ridiculous.
Wait.
And it isn't fair. It isn't fair. It isn't fair for a male to compete against females. Okay. Forget it.
Yeah. Okay.
Nobody transitioned.
I got
Mark.
what if you think that, Mark, you should take a look at the recent cover of Vanity Fair with a naked, pregnant Serena Williams.
This is good for Vanity Fair sales. Trust me, they love this right now.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Is it good for Vanity Fair sales? I take a look at that
You
cover.
know what I like better? The picture of her fiance holding her up on the beach. Now that's a Christmas card photo.
They're a cute couple.
I'm pulling for them, really.
Well, she's laid up because she's pregnant. He's laid up because he's in traction.
It's like a hot, steaming cup of information to start your day. It's Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Coming up next, I can't wait to tell you about the feminist demasculinization of their husbands. But first, your forecast: cloudy today, some midday rain and a thunderstorm, high of 83. Then tonight, a severe evening thunderstorm. And then tomorrow, we're going to have more thunderstorms and a high of 86. Into the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center we go. Here's Jim Telemonte.
Thanks, Amy and Dan. 8094 eastbound. Traffic is stop and go. Calumet Avenue to Grant after a crash is now cleared. Westbound heavy. I-65 decline. Northbound 65, slow Ridge Road to 8094. Eden's just 21 minutes. Lake Cook to Montrose, outbound 26. Kennedy, 43 minutes, so a hair to downtown, little quicker than the Express. Outbound 30, the Eisenhower. 50 minutes, Thorndale to downtown. Outbound 45, the Stevenson. 55 minutes, 355 to the Drive. Outbound 42. Ryan is 27 minutes, 95th to downtown. Outbound 19, a vehicle lost a tire near 91st Street. On the Tri-State, it's heavy southbound 21 to Everett, north, and Lawrence to the Bensonville Bridge, northbound 87th to the Hinsdale Oasis from the Reagan Tollway to North Avenue. Veterans Memorial heavy Boughton most of the way to Roosevelt and from North Avenue to 290. I'm Jim Talamonte in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center.
You are about to hear from Dr. Douglas Howard.
After 20 years and tens of thousands of success stories, Balance of Nature is still the only pure whole food supplement available. Balance of Nature has served more than 500 million servings of fruits and vegetables. Don't accept imitations, copies, or substitutions. Our success stories are unique to Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies. You'll know you have the real thing when you open the bottles and see, smell, and taste real produce.
It is worth every penny I pay because they really have made such a difference in my life. It is making me feel a whole lot better.
Even my doctor thought it was a good product.
Take Dr. Howard's Health Challenge and find out how to get 2 free sets of fruits and veggies. We'll even ship them to you for free. Call now for details.
Call 800-2468-751. That's 800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com.
Use promo code Chicago.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest growing independently owned business bank. It's a bank where relationships still matter. Signature Bank knows your name and your story. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
Do you know your bank's fraud tolerance? I'm Ann Dollagall, Treasury Management Executive. At Signature Bank, we have 0 tolerance. While some of the big banks may write off smaller incidences of fraud, we use a multi-layered approach to fight fraud before it happens to our customers. There's been a record number of businesses hit with payments fraud this year. Keeping your business assets safe is our top priority. We are trained, and we will train you to recognize potential wire fraud threats and business email compromise scams. Call us today to find out how Signature Bank can work with your business to fight fraud.
Signature Bank is looking for their next success story. Learn more about turning your business vision into reality. Visit signature-bank.com. Signature Bank, helping local businesses succeed. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
On AM 560 The Answer, we talk about the important issues that affect your world. Things like the economy, education, and foreign policy. There's always so much going on in the news that we don't always have the time to focus in and talk about the big ideas behind the important issues. Enter Upstream Ideas online at upstream-ideas.com. Upstream Ideas, in partnership with the Illinois Policy Institute, provides the kind of information that informs the policy discussions happening here on AM 560. At Upstream Ideas, you'll broaden the debate, move beyond partisan assumptions, and challenge accepted beliefs. Upstream Ideas goes against the current and thinks upstream. Go online now at upstream-ideas.com. That's upstream-ideas.com. You'll be armed with new information and fresh perspectives to help encourage you to make the state of Illinois and the United States of America a bit freer, a bit more just, and a bit more civilized. Upstream-ideas.com.
My name is David Hochberg, Vice President Lending at Pearl Mortgage. If you're looking to secure financing on a new home or refinance your existing home, give me a call. If you're purchasing a home within the next year, this is very important. Your credit score is the most important factor in determining your interest rate and monthly payments. I strongly advise listeners purchasing a home to contact me as far in advance as possible so I can pre-qualify you for free. I will analyze your credit and make recommendations to improve your credit scores so you can secure the lowest rate when purchasing a home. Paying banks and other lenders a fee to get pre-qualified is ridiculous. If you're purchasing a home, give me a call now at 312-751-1333 or visit am560david.com and get pre-qualified for free. I've helped thousands of AM 560 listeners, but I can't help if you don't call 312-751-1333 or visit am560david.com. Pearl Mortgage, an equal housing lender, Illinois Residential Mortgage Licensee 4358, and MLS 19186.
Yes, indeed, summertime. Another hot one. Wait, gonna be a little bit cooler today. Back to hot, gonna be windy. Maybe a thunderstorm mixed in for good measure. Up and down and up and down. The climate is always changing. Your company's heating and cooling system really gets a workout in Chicagoland. Be ready for anything this summer. Call Air Comfort and get your business's cooling system tuned up and running at peak performance. You see, the Air Comfort problem solvers can find small problems before they become big problems. Plus, proper maintenance will keep your system from wasting energy and money. Air Comfort will make sure your equipment is clean and obstacle-free. And if your chiller is about to or has stopped working, they can install temporary solutions to keep you cool while the long-term fixes are put in place. The key to keep your climate from changing is preventative maintenance, and Air Comfort can help. Schedule a comprehensive assessment of your mechanical system today. Call 708-345-1900 or visit aircomfort.com. Air Comfort, providing the right climate for business since 1935.
AM 560, The Answer.
All right, Dan.
What's the story?
This is a message for all the ladies out there. Since there's so many feminists, they're stripping the masculinity right out of their husbands. They're doing too much. There's a great article in the Federalist by Inez Felcher. Do you know her?
Okay.
Familiar with her?
I've read
and
her.
Basically, she's saying that, in this society where it's genderless and all the women try to... No, it's genderless.
It's only this fictional world of the left. That's not how people actually live.
Well, they said that in this post-feminist movement, culture has made a generation of women not only unable to recognize what makes men happy, it's made even saying what makes men happy out loud unthinkable. And that's men care about our appearance. They do. Women, we don't care so much about your appearance, so keep packing on the pounds. We care about social dominance, power, or the ability to provide for the family. So there's some suggestions she makes. She said instead, try shifting your appearance a notch or two up on your priority list. Cultivate an active lifestyle. Carve out time to work out regularly and curb your caloric indulgence. Wear clothes that flatter you instead of those that are just easiest to reach for. Active wear.
Yeah.
Even in the busiest of schedules, find 5 minutes to put on a little lipstick or spritz yourself with some perfume. He'll appreciate that. It's about making your man feel like a man. I wasn't offended by this at all. I think it's great. I mean, she went on to say that a good faith effort to help out your appearance will make him happier and that he'll appreciate you more and that your marriage is going to work out. Make an effort to please the man you married. It's not an act of sisterhood betrayal. It's an act of honoring your husband's masculine nature and the desires that come with it. It's one of the best gifts that you can give the man that you love.
That is the most important op-ed that has ever been written for men.
Well, I mean, we can't man shame. You're saying, what makes your man feel like a man? Maybe mowing the lawn, so then don't mow the lawn so that he can mow the lawn to feel more like a man.
Give the link again so every guy can print that out and, accidentally slip it into the purse or on the kitchen table during dinner, or just leave it around the house. Maybe multiple copies.
Right. The Federalist, go to thefederalist.com. It's written by Inez Felcher. Okay.
That will be the most downloaded op-ed in the history of the internet by about noon today. By the way, if you did what Ms. Felcher recommends, then you wouldn't have the Amish texter say the best gifts wives can give their husbands a divorce. I celebrated my 6th year on Friday, 6/23 at 10:42 and 33 seconds. That's very, very specific.
Oh, I remember my divorce day. It was 9/9/09, but I changed it to 9/10/09.
What about the time and the seconds, including the seconds?
No.
The Amish texter is...
Wow, he seems a little angry.
He's very enthusiastic about that coming to pass.
Ooh, well, coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
We'll talk to Peter Ferrara, former advisor to President Reagan and now Heartland Institute fellow, about Obamacare Replace at 8:38.
But first, into the newsroom we go. Here again is Mike Scott.
Cloudy skies, 63 degrees in the Nissan of St. Charles newsroom. Nissan of St. Charles, home of the Lifetime Advantage warranty. All eyes on Majority Leader Mitch McConnell putting the brakes on the Senate Republican health insurance reform bill, delaying the vote until after the 4th of July recess. The president of Venezuela calling a helicopter attack Tuesday in the capital of Caracas a terror attack against his government. Venezuela's information minister says a stolen helicopter fired shots at the Interior Ministry and dropped grenades on the Venezuela Supreme Court. No injuries reported. Other activists actually blame the president of Venezuela for that attack. A wave of cyber attacks is sweeping the globe. The virus has struck Russia's largest oil exporter, a American pharmaceutical company, and one of the world's largest shipping companies. Police in Florida say a raid last week at a retirement community home found drugs and a possible golf cart chop shop. Sumter County sheriffs say SWAT teams raided the Villages in Florida after an informant helped set up drug buys at the property. 5 are in custody, and police say they found meth, heroin, and a wide variety of golf cart parts. Democrats at the Illinois Capitol say they want to raise taxes by $5 billion and spend $36.5 billion, but Democrats are not saying in Springfield where they will cut the new state budget to find agreement with Republican Governor Bruce Rauner. Store owners across the state are asking a judge to stop or slow down Cook County's new soda tax. The Illinois Retail Merchants Association's combined might will be in Cook County court later today to plead their case that last-minute changes to the tax will make it tough for any store owner to comply. From England this morning, the creator of a popular children's book series has died. Author Michael Bond died yesterday at his home in England. His daughter announced her father's death this morning. Bond published his first book in 1958, A Bear Called Paddington. He never stopped writing stories about the bear from Peru who loved marmalade. His most recent story, Paddington's Finest Hour, was published in April. Michael Bond was 91. Cubs allowed 7 stolen bases to the Nationals in a 6-1 loss. White Sox, nice rally for a 9th-inning win over the Yankees, 4-3. The news, a service of Napa Auto Parts this month at participating Napa stores. Valvoline full synthetic motor oil on sale for just $5.59 a quart. Take advantage now. Protect your engine from all the heat all summer long. General States pricing. Sale prices do not include applicable state and local taxes or recycling fees. 8:33, a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Mike Gallagher wants the GOP to rally together.
You may be the first president in history to go down because you can't stop inappropriately talking about an investigation.
Well, no, he may be the first president to go down because he can't get fellow Republicans like you to support him. I don't know why this is so hard for Republicans to muster at least the pretense of support for a president who is under siege by the American media.
The Mike Gallagher Show, weekdays at 9, right before Dennis Prager at 11 on AM 560. The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Papa Nicholas Coffee. Papa Nicholas Coffee, a family tradition since 1897.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies.
For 5 years, I was with this other company, and I tried everything, and it was costing me a fortune. And on top of that, it wasn't working. And I said, ever since I've taken this product, I have kissed that goodbye. Matter of fact, I said, this has been the first winter that I have gone through without a flu or nothing.
Last year I started on the Balance of Nature. I'm telling you, it really built me up, and it really helped me.
My cholesterol went down. Only after taking it 1 month, I went down 20 points.
I feel better already with it. I just feel it's made my life more predictable, more useful.
Take Dr. Howard's Health Challenge and find out how to get 2 free sets of fruits and veggies. We'll even ship them to you free. Call now for details. Call 1-800-2468-751. That's 1-800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com. Use promo code Chicago.
8:35 and a check of the roads in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center. Here's Jim Talamonte.
Thanks, Mike. On the inbound Kennedy, delays start at Lawrence. We're looking at 43 minutes O'Hare to downtown, 34 from Montrose, 30 in the Express. Outbound, 32 minutes downtown to O'Hare. Edens, 20 minutes, Lake Cook to the Junction, outbound 26. The Eisenhower, 46 minutes, Thorndale to downtown, outbound 40. Inbound Stevenson, 53 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive, outbound it's 38. Ryan, 27 minutes, 95th to downtown. Southbound Lakeshore Drive, slow Irving Park to North Avenue, and 18th to the Stevenson. Northbound very heavy, 31st to Jackson. Tri-State southbound, slow Washington to Everett, and Lawrence to the Bensonville Bridge. Northbound 87th to the Hinsdale Oasis, and from the Reagan Tollway to North Avenue. Veterans Memorial, sluggish, 75th to the Reagan Tollway, and Army Trail to 290. The other tollways are good. 8094, heavy eastbound, Calumet Avenue to Indianapolis Boulevard, and central to Ripley. Westbound, slow I-65 decline. Traffic answers when you need them most. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the aircomfort.com Weather Center, providing the right climate for business since 1935. Cloudy, windy. Midday rain could turn into a heavy thunderstorm and a high of 83. Currently 63. Next news at 9. And Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by the lawyers of Kelleher and Buckley, providing legal solutions to your estate planning and asset protection. KelleherandBuckley.com.
Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues now. And make sure to stay tuned to catch me, Mike Gallagher, coming up at 9, only on AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. And Amy, you're all twisted up about a Trump super PAC, America First policies. It's their Trump supporters going after Nevada Senator Dean Heller with commercials, both television and radio, for his resistance to sign on to the Senate GOP's Obamacare replace.
Yeah, he's up for re-election, and his Senate seat is at stake, and we want it to remain a Republican Senate seat, don't we? So the Super PAC ad attacking him has come out, and they haven't even taken a vote yet. That's why I don't think it's fair. Here, listen to the ad yourself.
Obamacare is rapidly racing towards collapse. Premiums skyrocketing. Deductibles increasing. Insurance companies pulling out and heading for the hills. But now, with strong leadership and a real chance to repeal and replace Obamacare with patient-centered care that protects American families, Senator Dean Heller is saying no. Call Senator Heller. Tell him America needs him to keep his promise. Vote yes to repeal and replace Obamacare.
I'm just upset because what Dean Heller, the senator from Nevada, wanted was the same thing that President Trump wanted, a little more heart. He was concerned about cuts to Medicaid. And that's it. So, I mean, to release this, I think one decision, a vote hasn't even been taken yet. And now we learned this morning that 9 Republican senators are against this bill. I just think it's a little cruel. And it's, we don't want to eat our own.
That's politics. And here's politics. As Milton Friedman famously said, it's the art of getting the wrong people to do the right thing. And how do you get the wrong people to do the right thing? Like Dean Heller in his defense of an indefensible Medicaid program. You put pressure on them. That's how. That's what politicians respond to, generally speaking. Pressure. So fomenting discord among Nevada voters to focus their attention on Dean Heller and get him off the dime. That's most politicians, I hate to break it to people, and I'm sorry this is the case, but it is, are human weather vanes. And if enough pressure is applied, then their focus is on their reelect, and that's the temperature they take when they make a decision. Now, there are some that are principled. There are some that aren't looking at this as a career and want to advance free market policies, or on the other side, want to advance central planning. But for the most part, they're people that are very susceptible to pressure. And I'm a proponent of applying pressure all the time, always, on everyone. But for more on this topic, the underlying substance of what's there, right? That's the way it is. You want to know what happens when you don't hold Republicans accountable within your own party? When we just say incumbents are off limits. If they're the incumbent, then they shall stay there until they are tired of being there, and no one should challenge them. That's the philosophy of the Illinois Republican Party. That's the philosophy of being a super minority, not regulating your own people. No standards of conduct. That's a problem. But for more on the underlying policy, we're pleased to be joined by Peter Ferrara, who's former Reagan advisor and now a senior fellow for entitlement and budget policy at the Heartland Institute. Our friends Joe and Diane Bass over at the Heartland Institute, heartland.org. Peter, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Glad to be here.
So with respect to the Senate proposal in its current form with the vote delayed past July 4, give us the good, the bad, and the ugly from your perspective.
Well, I think the bill is a pretty good bill. And I think the Republicans are going to be able to come together on it because they know that they need to pass something. They can't just sit here and after campaigning for 7 years and promising to repeal it and replace it, when they now have the numbers to do it, they blink instead. They just can't do that. They can't go back to the midterms. And these are very high-stakes midterms because it's really the Democrat Party that's in trouble in these midterms. The people are not paying enough attention to recognize or keep in mind a majority of the remaining Senate Democrats are up for re-election next year on the ballot. 25 Democrat senators are up for re-election. That's the way the draw has come. So there's only 8 or 9 Republican seats on the ballot. There's going to be 25 Democrat incumbents. That's the majority of the remaining Democrats in the Senate.
You know what's interesting to me just on that topic? The argument is being made by some Republicans privately because they don't want to show how weak-kneed they are politically. Well, Obama cost the Democrats 1,000 legislative seats in both chambers because of Obamacare. And so we don't want to make the same mistake. But here's what the Democrats did. They passed Obamacare even when it was unpopular, which is its entire history. And right now the GOP bill is unpopular, so they fear that they're going to do a repeat of what Obama did to his party. And it seems to me that the counter to that, or the response to that, is make the case for the bill rather than just this binary of Obamacare, Senate GOP plan without any explanation of where one is going and what one aims to do and why it aims to do it. They're just so cowed by the accusations of heartlessness.
Well, you took the words right out of my mouth because what they need to do is go on the offensive on the issue intellectually. And this Medicaid issue is the most frustrating of all. The medical studies show that Medicaid is no solution for the uninsured. The medical studies show that people on Medicaid do not get any better health outcomes than people who are completely uninsured. And it's not just one study. It's repetitive. There are now dozens of studies that show this in all these different areas, different health problems, whether you have cancer or heart disease, et cetera. On Medicaid, you don't have your health outcomes are not any better than if you're uninsured, and that's because the government does not pay the doctors and hospitals enough to enable the poor on the program to have access to health care. So, especially when they need specialists, when they're really sick, they need treatment, health care, consultation with specialists, and they can't find specialists who are going to take Medicaid because the government won't pay them.
Right. They don't, they won't get the best health there because no doctor wants to see anybody who's on Medicaid or Medicare. I mean, it's hard. But so in this case, what are the sticking points right now? How could they come to a possible compromise on this?
Well, I think that the more conservative senators like Ted Cruz and Rand Paul, they're ready to cut a deal. They are going to try to make the bill better, but when they get some concessions, that won't blow up the whole thing. Because the big conundrum is if you make concessions to the conservatives, you lose moderates. And if you make concessions to the moderates, you lose more conservatives. And so the people like Ted Cruz, Rand Paul, they understand that they do need to pass the bill. And the important thing for Republicans to keep in mind is this is not the last health care bill that's ever going to be adopted. So they need to get the best compromise they can get now, and if they think they need more, they think they need something else, come back and try to seek to make that change in another bill. But you can't lose the whole historic opportunity here to repeal and replace Obamacare. And the bill is a pretty good bill. The House bill and this bill reflect the arguments that I've been making as to what Republicans should do to repeal and replace Obamacare. They're block granting Medicaid back to the states. This is the important thing because there's actually Medicaid reform in the Republican bill that will make it better for the poor. And this is the argument Republicans need to be making. And this is the word I'm trying to get out. Republicans need to be making the argument that we have a reform in this bill that will make Medicaid better for the poor than it is now. Right now, it's horrible for the poor. Instead of assuring health care to the poor, Medicaid has become an institutionalized means for denying health care to the poor by not paying doctors and hospitals enough for them to be willing and available to provide the health care that the poor need when they need it.
Right, but how do you cut Medicaid without looking heartless? I mean, is there any suggestions?
No, because we have a good history of with waivers that granted states control, like in Indiana. So they adopted reforms in Indiana with using health savings accounts for everybody, giving the poor more control over their own health care. And these reforms were studied and documented to provide better access to health care than the current Medicaid program. Same thing in Rhode Island. There was a waiver that granted Rhode Island freedom. You go ahead and run your own Medicaid program for 5 years. And when that was studied after 5 years, the conclusion was this was much better for the poor than standard old-fashioned Medicaid run by the federal government.
It seems like this is a great jiu-jitsu opportunity for Republicans. In point of fact, Medicaid in its current form is heartless. That's what's heartless based on the outcomes for those that are most vulnerable. And also the federal government spend on the able-bodied versus the populations that Medicaid was originally conceived to serve, disabled persons and indigent children and pregnant women who are being underserved because we're running systems at the state level like we do in Illinois that we can't finance, and so fewer hospitals and doctors accept Medicaid patients. That's heartlessness. Central planning is what has made Medicaid heartless, and we're trying to remedy that by focusing on the populations Medicaid was originally intended to serve. Oh, by the way, we also means test subsidies, so we're disproportionately helping those on the lower end of the socioeconomic scale. And forcing the able-bodied to, take care of themselves, as we all say philosophically, people who can take care of themselves should.
Yes, and under the reforms in the Republican bill, even CBO recognizes that ultimately it's going to reduce the premiums, and that's the way the people that you're trying to help with by adding to Medicaid, the better approach is to reduce the premiums on the available health insurance out there by repealing the regulation that's causing the premium cost to soar. So CBO's own score says that after a few years, the premiums will decline by 30% under this Senate bill, and that's the way to get these. historically, Medicaid has been a program for very poor people, sick retirees, disabled people, children in poor families. But what Obamacare did is extend this to non-poor adults.
Right.
So adults that were above the poverty line. And so now it covers, this is a safety net program, it covers 75 million Americans. And if it's not changed, it's going to end up covering 100 million Americans.
What's the most troubling aspect of either the House or the Senate, what the House passed or what the Senate has proposed in terms of, as you mentioned before, this is not the last health care bill we're going to pass, what we're going to have to revisit because of the externalities it's likely to throw off? What provision?
Well, I think that we want to make sure we root out all the regulations. And so that's proving difficult because there's an issue here whether you can put that on a reconciliation bill. And there are good arguments to be made, and there are good approaches to be made to do it through reconciliation. But that's causing them to back off a bit. So to the extent that they don't get all the regulations out right now, look, you can come back and get the regulations out in another bill, especially if you have a good case that this or that regulation is causing trouble, is raising costs. People will be willing, the Congress will go along with that kind of change. So this is not the last change to be made. You don't want to hold out when you have so much at stake. So pass the bill, repeal the damn thing, get it off the table, and if there's more that needs to be done, then just come back and do it again. We still will have the Republican majorities in both houses of Congress.
All right. He is Peter Ferrara, former advisor to President Reagan, now senior fellow for entitlement and budget policy at the Heartland Institute, heartland.org. Peter, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Well, thank you for having me on the show.
And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
If you're talking about it, Dan and Amy are talking about it. It's Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer, the Philippine National Anthem, Sing It or Else. But first, here's your forecast. Cloudy today. As you can see, the clouds are starting to move in. We're going to have some rain in a few hours here. Possible thunderstorm, a high of 83. And a severe evening thunderstorm tonight. So be on the lookout for that. And then tomorrow, a little more thunderstorms, showers in the area. Otherwise, it'll be cloudy, breezy, and warm and humid, a high of 86. Into the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center we go. Here's the one and only Jim Talamonte.
Thank you, Amy. Good morning. Good morning, Dan. On your inbound Kennedy, it's stop and go from Lawrence to the Burn Circle. 43 minutes, O'Hare to downtown. 34 from Montrose. 30 in the Express. Outbound 32 minutes downtown to the airport. The Edens is fine inbound. Outbound, that's 7 minutes worth of delays in pockets between Devon and Willow. The Eisenhower, 53 minutes. Thorndale to the post office. 36 from Manheim. Outbound 33 to Thorndale. Stevenson, 53 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive. The northbound 55 exit to US 30, still closed. There's an overturned utility truck. The Ryan, 30 minutes, 95th to downtown. Tri-State southbound, slow 21 to Everett. Lawrence to the Bensonville Bridge. Northbound from the Stevenson to 31st and from the Reagan to North Avenue. 8094 eastbound, slow central to Ripley. Westbound I-65 decline. I'm Jim Talamonte in the Alarm Detection Systems Traffic Center.
Oh, birthdays, wedding, graduations, it never ends. But don't stress about giving the perfect gift and never go to a party empty-handed when you have ChicagoRadioDeals.com just a click away. You can purchase and print a gift certificate the same day. Give a $100 gift certificate to Zembard Jewelers in New Lenox. Here's the deal. You only pay $50 for the $100 gift. Most deals on ChicagoRadioDeals.com are half the retail price. Give the gift of dance with private and group lessons from Fred Astaire Dance Studio in Burr Ridge, or the gift of music in the form of a drum kit, guitar, or digital piano from Midlothian Music. Visit ChicagoRadioDeals.com today for instant gifts you need to give this weekend. Dinners, tickets to live music, comedy, Lake Michigan cruises, bed and breakfast, overnight stays in Milwaukee and Door County, spa treatments, and much more. Find it all at ChicagoRadioDeals.com.
I used to play a lot of sports in college, but when I got older, my legs started to burn and ache, making it hard to work out. Then I noticed those varicose and spider veins. I couldn't believe it. I thought this only happened to my mom and her friends.
The professionals at Vein Clinics of America have performed over 1 million personalized procedures for their patients, making them the largest, most experienced vein treatment center in the U.S. Using state-of-the-art laser and minimally invasive treatments, they can begin restoring your legs back to health in as little as 1 hour with no downtime, and most treatments are covered by insurance.
I called Vein Clinics of America, and they fixed my legs. No more ugly veins. Now I can run and do squats again.
Guys, get back in the game. Call now and schedule a free fast-track consultation with one of our doctors and learn how you can finally get rid of those embarrassing varicose and spider veins. Space is limited, so call now. 800-402-0707. That's 800-402-0707. 800-402-0707.
Hey, did you know that the cell phone you're holding right now is likely supporting the liberal agenda of Nancy Pelosi and Bernie Sanders? It's true. Most of the big cell phone companies contribute to the pro-abortion agenda, gun control, and open borders. That's why you should use that cell phone in your hand and call 1-800-A-PATRIOT to switch to Patriot Mobile, the nation's only conservative cell phone company. Patriot Mobile offers the same great nationwide coverage you're used to, the newest cell phones, and they'll even buy out your current contract with credits up to $500 per line or $1,500 per account. And when you switch to Patriot Mobile, they'll donate up to 5% of their monthly proceeds to the conservative cause of your choice at no extra cost to you. You can bring your number and your phone or get new ones. Call 1-800-A-PATRIOT right now to get a plan and device that fits your needs, or go to patriotmobile.com/Joe. Use promo code Joe and they'll waive the activation fee. 1-800-A-PATRIOT or patriotmobile.com/Joe. Promo code Joe.
A storm is on the horizon, and you need to keep the lights on no matter what. Your business relies on the power being on 24/7. It's the lifeblood of your data and computer systems. Weather-related outages from the power company are not acceptable. Your need for a source of power that's reliable 24/7, along with round-the-clock service that can dispatch technicians to your site immediately, is mission critical. Your business needs Charles Equipment Energy Systems on speed dial. These are the big boys, not residential or solar, but reliable industrial generators for emergency backup or events. When you need more than a 100-foot extension cord plugged into a small engine generator, call Charles Equipment Energy Systems. They keep the lights on with rental generators for job sites or power outages. The storm season is here. Plan ahead. Call now to prepare generators for sudden damage and potential power outages. Call 630-834-6000. That's 630-834-6000 or charlesequipment.com. charlesequipment.com.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies.
When I heard of Balance of Nature, and I said, because I had prayed, Lord, how am I going to get all this food into me that's so good to me? That's when I called. Now I know that I get my fruits and my vegetables into me, and I don't have to work so hard. I know that I am getting the proper things into my body. I do believe that if I didn't have this already in my body, my Balance of Nature, it wouldn't have gone so good for me. But because my body was healthy, that's what kept me going.
Take Dr. Howard's Health Challenge and find out how to get 2 free sets of fruits and veggies. We'll even ship them to you free. Call 1-800-2468-751. That's 1-800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com. Use promo code Chicago.
Don't go to bed another night worrying about unfiled tax returns or the letters or the calls you're getting from the IRS. If you owe $10,000 or more to the IRS, there's actually good news. The IRS has recently enacted changes in the tax law called the Fresh Start Initiative, specifically for troubled taxpayers who owe the IRS. You may be able to settle your entire tax debt for up to 85% off the original amount owed, including penalties and interest, if you qualify. Call for your free consultation with Comprehensive Tax Solutions. No matter what tax issue you're facing, one call to Mary Karpowitz of Comprehensive Tax Solutions, family-owned in Chicagoland, can show you the difference between night and day so that you can enjoy what matters most to you. Don't spend another day or night hiding from the IRS. Call 708-478-6770, 708-478-6770, or go to resolveyourtaxproblems.com. That's resolveyourtaxproblems.com with Comprehensive Tax Solutions.
AM 560, The Answer.
Amy, you know that song.
Oh, yeah, you have to know.
That's Lupang Hinarang. That's the Filipino national anthem. New legislation in Duterte's Philippines that failure to sing the anthem when it's played with sufficient energy punishable up to a year in prison and a fine of $1,000 to $2,000. A second offense would include both a fine and prison time.
What if you don't know the words? You just got to mouth it?
Well,
say banana.
You better learn the words. Violators will also be penalized with public censure in a newspaper. The singing shall be mandatory and must be done with fervor. So you have to be enthusiastic as well. I mean, should we do that here for the 4th of July right around the corner? Or something like that. If you don't sing the national anthem, the Star Spangled Banner, with fervor, you get imprisoned. So let's take it from the top and let's see here.
Ready?
Let's take it from the top. This is Bang Hooray. Sing it. That's not sufficient fervor. More fervor. We need more fervor. Where's Christopher Walken when you need him? More fervor. It's actually kind of quite lovely. It's a little austere, but I like it.
I think it's a little aggressive. Thanks so much for making this part of your morning, Dan. I will have it memorized for you tomorrow morning. That's my homework assignment.
And you'll sing it with fervor.
Yes. Thanks also to Jason Kosick and to Keith Conrad. We're back here tomorrow.
Justin Kosick was here, too.
Yeah. Hi, Justin.
I can't get his name right. He makes me nervous. I'm as old as his parents. But now let's go into the newsroom. Here's Mike Scott.
Here are the stories we're watching right now. A driver in a deadly River North crash commits suicide. Democrats unveiling their budget. Cloudy day ahead. WIND Chicago. 9:04 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
If you only get to one festival this summer, this is the one your family can't miss. Make plans to be at one of Chicagoland's favorite festivals, Eyes to the Skies, June 30th through July 2nd. The Lyle Eyes to the Skies Festival has been entertaining folks for over 30 years with morning and evening balloon launches, balloon glows, nightly fireworks, and live music on 2 stages. Plus, a new addition to this year's festival, Team Fast Tracks, America's skydiving team performing daily skydiving shows. And there's a carnival with rides, craft fair, a huge kids area, and over 50 unique food vendors. Ever wonder what riding in a hot air balloon feels like, but are a bit nervous? Try a tethered balloon ride. Take some amazing pictures from this incredible view. Make plans now for the Lyle Eyes to the Skies Festival, June 30th through July 2nd. Admission is just
Now I can. All right.
Yeah, talking points, sure. Yep.
Okay.
You're going to skidoo skis? Keith, don't let him.
He watches over me because he's always worried that I'm going to do something.
Oh, yeah, I know. He's a great salesperson.
Keep it clean.
He's a nervous wreck.
Keep it clean. Remember George Carlin's magic words.
Well, we restarted the Townstone Financial Show, and he came to East Bank to eat lunch with me. Can they hear us?
No, that's all right.
Can hear us.
I don't care.
Yeah.
They came to eat lunch with us.
Okay. And what happened?
And he's sitting there. I had one of my millennials who's never been on the radio before, and I was always on when David wasn't on there. And he's just, you got to do this, you got to do that. He's making him nervous, and I go, Mike, just relax. We're going to be on the radio. We're paying $1,500 an hour to do it. We can pretty much say whatever we want as long as it's